we had all those like 1082 rare breeds laying around that garage, and Clay would be like, I want one of those.
Yeah.
And me and Ron would be like, I don't know, there's wine coolers in here, dude. There's peach schnapps. Like, that's easier.
Hello, and welcome everyone to episode 184 of the Mashup, the most interesting bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We are your hosts, Stephen, Kenny, and Anthony. What's up, Kenny?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm actually kind of like lost right now. Like, I don't know, I'm just looking at you across the table here, and we're surrounded by guests, but I don't know if we should disclose who's here or not.
I'm incredibly tipsy, so I am very lost myself as well.
Well, way to blow it there, you know. Now
I've been
no one's
drinking
gonna
since
listen.
11 o'clock today.
Okay, all right. Well, you guys know that we have taken to doing 2 episodes a week, and Tuesdays we typically do a short bottle review, or we try to have some industry people on. And as the good fortune would have it, today we're incredibly blessed to be joined by
The best of all three, though. We have the
all
best
three.
of retail. We have the best of YouTube and just the whole like social media. And then we have like the best of the GOAT of the heritage brands. So we are very blessed tonight.
right. And I don't even know how this happened, but I'm just going to kind of go around the table here and give you an idea of who's here. So we have Mr. Ryan Alves with BourbonOutfitter.com.
Yeah. Justin's House of Bourbon and Bourbon Outfitter.
Very
my
good.
will. I'm here.
Against your will, huh? Oh, come on. You're usually more cheery than that. You're such a cheery guy.
He was so happy to be
He really
here.
didn't want to
He
be on
was.
tonight. He
Yeah.
didn't. He even said a couple weeks ago he didn't want to come on.
All right.
Like, you have to be, dude.
And then I had this whole big intro plan for these guys. You probably have heard of them before. I was going to call them the great tag team from Michigan, not the Steiner brothers, right? That you might know from WWE, but the heavyweights of the YouTube bourbon world, the Bourbon Junkies.
I lost 30 pounds this year, dude. That's crazy.
We got Dan and Sean.
Dan and Sean,
from the
dude.
Bourbon Junkies.
The guys, man.
Appreciate
Still
it,
a
guys.
heavyweight.
Appreciate it, guys.
You did lose 30 pounds, didn't
Listen,
you?
I'm going to stay in XL for the rest of my life because I don't want to be. I don't want to be a
Victim weight.
small man.
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, I want to be like like when you approach me, it's like that's a big dude, whether he can do anything or not. He's
Dan will never be victim weight. We're good.
got Little Caesars just in case.
There
know
you
what I
go.
mean?
Perfect. And then, Kenny, do you want to introduce the last guest here, or do you want me to?
You can do it, bro.
I can do it.
Yeah. The man.
I'm really shocked
myth.
and surprised because
legend.
I came here and I'm like, okay, I expected to see Ryan, I expected to see the Bourbon Junkies. It's like, oh well, Bruce Russell is also here, right? So for those of you guys who don't know, Bruce Russell is 3rd generation Wild Turkey royalty. Sir, can I say that? Is that okay for
Royalty,
me to
it
say that?
is. It is royalty.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
is,
Okay.
yeah, it is
well,
that, though. It
incredibly humbled and honored to be
definitely that.
in your presence, sir. Like, I mean, honest to God, that was the best surprise of all. No offense to Bourbon Junkies or to Ryan, of course. You know.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You
know,
Okay.
All
You agree?
the
Okay, all
offense
right.
to Ryan.
We're on the same vein of that.
Okay.
So you're
all
good.
right. Yeah. That was what a great surprise, though. But awesome. And then, of course, Kenny's here.
We also have a house full of other people, too.
Yes.
We do.
If you hear background noise.
If you hear background noise, we have got Alec Rubin with Alec Bradley Cigars
Bradley Rubin.
Boo Radley.
and Bradley Rubin. Yep.
ADHD.
And then you got ADHD whiskey, dude. Yeah.
we got Nikolai Jones.
You got
dude.
Nick Jones in the house.
We got a good crew today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah,
you
it's
might
quite-
hear everybody in the background.
Yeah, you might hear him in the background, but hey,
Coming in to get whiskey or pizza.
yeah.
I might trade out midway through the show and just let one of them take over.
Don't.
You know,
Don't.
don't do it.
Buddy,
I'll pay
that-
it not to.
Come on, I think Matt could come over here and rock out and do some really cool things.
You know, okay, I will give you Matt as a pass. The rest of them,
I mean, I think Matt ought to take my microphone spot, to be honest with you.
There you go.
Because everybody wants to hear Matt more than me. So I like watching his videos too. So
Oh my God! Well, I mean,
Matt should take my place.
so our listening audience probably has not heard as much about you guys as we have, and so I mean, we've had Ryan on the podcast before, but Dan and Sean, we've never had you guys. I mean, while we start sharing some pours here and talking, can you guys give us like the I don't know, not even a concise view. I want to hear about Junkies, because the first time I saw you guys on YouTube, I didn't know what to make of you. All I knew is that you were different. and different in a good way, different in a way that you made me laugh. That I liked the content that you're putting out, and it was different from a lot of stuff I saw. So, how did that start? And tell us about it.
First off, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Those were
thank you
kind
so
words.
much.
Sometimes we get unkind words.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes?
it's kind of like against the grain, maybe industry wise. It's less serious than it is.
Right.
Have a good time with your buddies, right? So. Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there having a good time with their buddies with some whiskey at a table, right? Doing the same damn thing just without headphones and microphones. But
this is literally how we started.
Yeah. And so that's all it was. It was just like we're a couple guys shooting the shit, hanging out, and just we were drinking whiskey. The first thing we ever did on a camera was drink like Barter House against like a freaking Larceny 90 proof.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Swear to God. And the power was out, and our buddy was like holding the cell phone up with a flashlight.
It looked like an ISIS video. It wasn't good.
It's tough. It's tough.
Oh my God!
But needless to say,
I might be underselling it too.
we, we're here. We kept doing it. It was do it till we don't have fun or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And we always have fun doing it, and it turned into something and allowed us to launch our own brand and do the things we want to continue to do. Be here today, hang out
Be
with
in
people
whiskey,
we want to hang out with, and it's been a beautiful journey, man. So, long story short, it was just us hanging out, shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And that's literally all it was.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
Oh man, like the old school days of us putting a camera to our faces, and it's rough. It's real rough.
We've still not done the camera thing.
We haven't. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Give us some advice there, but I guess if people saw Kenny on camera, they might get a little bit. Yeah.
Hey, I honestly don't think you
Be
can
rough.
do worse than what we did when we first started.
Wear a mask.
Oh man,
Yeah.
White cement walls.
Buddy, we
Yeah.
shot a podcast in a hotel 2 days ago.
Really?
that was better than some of our first.
It would be worse than you putting a camera behind us right now and shooting just straight at that wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when we originally started Mashup, we were using Purple Panda mics. They plugged into our phone. We were syncing audio files, and it was the worst quality. Just go back and listen to episodes 1 through 10, maybe. And,
That's right, I can't.
It was bad, yeah.
I think that is the best thing though. When someone talks about like, hey, when we first started, it was bad. I'm like, yeah, it should be.
Right.
Honestly, you're learning. Like everyone wants to have perfection on the first step.
Right.
You don't need that. What you need to do, put your foot in there. We're just gonna do it. That's
Right.
what we did. Like it was just I didn't want to do it.
True.
It was real bad.
Sean said no, actually.
Yeah,
I pitched the YouTube channel. Sean said no.
Twice, and then here we are.
And I appreciate that because, we don't go back and delete and replace those episodes. I mean, I tell people
We should.
we probably should too, but I tell people I'm just as proud of them as the ones that we've done currently, even if they don't sound as good.
Yeah.
It shows growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It shows growth. But the reason that we're all here right now, well, I'm not even supposed to be here, but everyone's
Appreciate
here is
ya.
because there's a wild turkey pick that you guys did today. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that in I think, Bruce, I was talking to you, 2013, 14 maybe, my wife and I took our first trip to Turkey, and as luck would have it, on that Sunday that we were there, you were actually giving the tours, and you were back from Austin. And so I didn't know if I'd ever see you again, and here we are. So Bruce Russell, man, like, come on, can you tell us what
The man, dude.
The man.
Seriously.
Come on, this is amazing. I
Yeah,
can't believe I'm
dude.
here in your presence,
wild.
but I don't know if you need an introduction, but I mean, if you'd like to give your own little intro here about your relationship to turkey, if people don't know who you are, and
sure.
what you're working on
Who
now,
are
some
you,
things that
sir?
you're doing. Who are you?
I don't give tours anymore. But that is how I started. I started giving tours in the little old station master's house.
Yep.
It's kind of our temporary visitor center for a while. I'm the blender now at Wild Turkey. My dad and granddad are the master distillers there. Grew up here in Lawrenceburg. My dad actually grew up like 200 yards away from this house.
Really?
Yeah. Jimmy, my granddad, who I will call Jimmy because I call him Mimmy.
Okay.
Don't call him granddad.
Yeah.
Most people don't know what I'm talking about. So. Yeah, Jimmy's house was just on the other side of that train tracks we all crossed when we came in.
Wow.
Dad grew up right here. They had a little school here. Dad was an Alton Indian when he was growing up. And, I just grew up around Turkey my whole life and never really thought this is what I was going to do. I've told this story a couple other times, but so I'll do the kind of abridged version. But 21, giving tours at the distillery. Dad took me around the distillery one afternoon for 4 or 5 hours, kind of taught me everything that we do and why we do it. And that was 4 or 5 hours more than he'd ever talked to me in my entire life. I thought he was a mute.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, "Hey, I quit. Good luck."
Yeah. And Ryan knows. I mean, Ryan, who's here with me, who's been on the podcast before.
Oh my god.
Most people might not know. Me and him are like childhood best friends. Been my best friend since we were in middle school. We've known each other since elementary school age. And Ryan grew up sleeping on my parents' couch a lot, and I grew up sleeping in his room or on his parents' couch a lot.
Nice.
And my dad probably said 3 words to Ryan as we were growing up. He's just a real quiet guy, and I knew then, like, hey, this is something pretty cool. Like, I've always thought the whiskey's cool, but I grew up around it. You grew up in Lawrenceburg. Most people you know work at Wild Turkey or Four Roses or Buffalo Trace, or somebody in their family does, so it wasn't a big
Jim
deal.
Beam, Claremont.
Yeah.
Frankfurt.
They make the drive and they work at a distillery. And I realized this was a good chance for me to kind of get to know my family in a different type of way, and I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, man, Dad can talk. He's good at his job. He's smart. He's passionate. Like, I didn't know any of this stuff. And I stuck around and kind of fell in love with it, got the bug. And luckily for me, unlike Dad, he started in 81, so he started as the times were, you know, in the shitter, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Whiskey was awful. But I started in 2010 and started when times were already starting to get good. So it's been great for me. And, you know, we did this barrel pick today. I don't get to do all the picks anymore. I do them all when Ryan comes. But, man, this is the best part of the gig for me. I do love developing products as the blender. I love traveling and selling our stuff. I love hanging out. But the best part of this job to me, it's the people. I mean, you get to meet so many dope people from around the world that care about what my family does, and they care about my dad and my granddad, and care about the work that they've put in. To me, that's something really special. And we had an awesome pick today. Picked a bunch of good barrels, bourbons and ryes, and, you know, kind of hung out and shot the shit and had lunch together, and that's what it's all about.
That's amazing.
Really quick.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I got to say one.
Go ahead.
So Ryan has been around our community and channel for a really long time, right?
Right.
And so when we meet and hit it off with Ryan, the first time Ryan ever said to me, he's like, I went to school with Bruce.
Yeah.
I went, Russell?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
He goes, yeah. I go, bullshit.
Yeah.
There ain't no way. But the thing is Ryan, like, if you go to Ryan's place, you see the amount of turkey in Ryan's collection is obviously pretty significant, right? And so it's one of those things where you're like, man, Ryan's clearly really into turkey. And then he says that, and you're like, dude, that's insane that you would say that.
The
Come to
favorite
find
part
out
of my
real.
day,
Yeah.
telling on you to your granddad and
Grandma.
your grandma
Yeah.
that you stole his parking space.
Yeah, Sean was trying to throw me under the bus.
He did.
Well, he's trying. My granny's not going to take his side.
She was like, cool,
I'm
man.
her favorite, so
She goes, I don't care.
yeah, she didn't.
Cool, great.
Picked the wrong fight.
Yeah.
You lost immediately.
I was like, oh man, I thought I'd like get him on something. Like, oh, hey, you know what Bruce did? He was parking in your parking station. Cool, man. We're parked right out there. It's 12 feet away. It's curbside.
She's picking my side even over Jimmy. She's not going to pick your side. Yeah.
We pulled up, and he goes, oh, Jimmy's in there. I go, that's Bruce's truck. He goes, oh, he's just parking there because he knows granddad ain't going to be parked there.
No, he can't
That's
walk
great.
that far. He's got parked right next to the door now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I found out that you guys knew each other, and then you told that story about being doubles partners in tennis.
No, we gotta talk. We gotta talk about that, man. That's my story.
I wanted to get your side of that because I'm like, I still can't imagine
Wait,
this.
wait.
I can't-
Ryan has been very tipsy in some of our blinds that we do and talk, and some of just hangouts. And I heard about the tennis doubles in high school, and it's just you got to talk about that, bro.
Aren't
Yeah, you
Alec
do.
and Bradley trying to bet you guys on doubles right
Oh,
now?
we would crush them.
We were crushed.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
Love it. Love it.
I haven't played tennis in 10 years.
I'm taking over on you guys. By the way.
So we played football together. My senior year, Ryan was the center. My brother was a quarterback, and I was a running back on the football team. And me and Ryan aren't small guys. And we were like, well, we don't really have anything to do in the spring. We weren't playing baseball. And we just decided to play tennis because we had kind of played a little bit, you know, as fun on the side and stuff. And
So awesome.
This feels like the wildest. Like, hey, you want to get in the sun? You're like, yeah, tennis. I
and we ended
guess.
up being pretty good. I mean, Kentucky is not known for its tennis.
Neither are two guys your size.
And so, yeah, you have these two guys that are 6 foot and taller. I weighed, at that time, probably 215, 220, and Ryan weighed more than me. And so we were like 10 times the size of it. We would play against like middle school kids or, you know, like
Just crushing
people that
them.
were like 5'9", 130. And Like, it got to the point where people would be like, they're not 18. Like,
Why do these guys serve 145 miles an hour? This is not fun.
We basically physicaled our way, and we only lost one match that whole season.
Oh my
and it
goodness.
was
No one
you know,
returned a
and
single
it was
fucking
to
serve.
2 8th grade kids from like North Oldham, I believe. Oldham or North Oldham, one of the Oldham schools. But like,
Oldham.
you know, well-to-do rich kids who grew up playing tennis and actually knew how to play.
Right.
And so they just wore me and Ryan out. They just hit it across the court over and over. They never missed. And about halfway through, we were about to pass out. And we were like, all right, I guess these kids are going to win.
Like,
This is less fun.
Oh,
yeah,
my God.
we just kind of gave out. But we were actually really good. One of the best teams in our district or region. And we had a blast. And then we kept playing that next summer on like a local Central Kentucky tennis series. And we hardly ever won. We only won one of the series, but we came in second in most of them. But a lot of parents, they would complain because their
are too big.
tiny
Yeah.
child would be playing. These two guys, and we both had, full
Beards.
facial hair,
Yeah,
beards.
it's not
and-
fair that you guys both
Yeah.
had beards for sure in 8th grade.
And we would serve probably 3 times faster than anybody else in the division. And we did kind of play like we would both rush the net and spike it on people. And
Guys got drunk tested.
it was, it was pretty fun. I mean,
We played volleyball.
Yeah.
yeah, we did.
Listen, if you got size but you don't got the endurance,
Correct.
you play bully ball.
You have
Yeah.
to.
You got to
yeah.
do it.
That's so awesome.
Play to the strength.
That's
so
incredible.
I
awesome.
still have the trophies in my childhood bedroom.
That is so awesome.
I love that. Bruce, a multifaceted man. Come
See,
to
you
find
didn't know
out.
that, yeah.
Nobody knew he was
I didn't
damn
know that
near
of
pro
Ryan
in
either.
tennis.
Right,
Yeah.
right. He's a star football player, tennis player, both you guys. I mean, I didn't know you guys owned it out here. That's the way it
That's
was. huh?
amazing.
Yeah.
He was a
Well-
basketball coach too. Bruce coached basketball.
You just
I
did
did. I
everything,
coached
huh?
basketball
Coached
for a little
high school,
while out of
just
high
doing
school.
everything.
Yeah.
I like how he started the story. He was like, hey, we played football together, but we beat the shit out of everyone.
And tennis.
We did. Yeah. Our football team was pretty good, but we were really good at tennis.
We did okay, but we dominated tennis.
That's amazing. So, you guys just started a distillery, right?
Technically,
Spirits Company.
I guess.
We have a
Spirits
small
Company?
distiller's license. We have a DSP license. Those are for tax reasons. And
Oh,
then,
okay.
someday down the road, if we want to or choose to, whatever,
Okay.
then we have the ability to. But currently, sourcing contract distilling.
Yeah.
That's big. That's big, though. How long has that been going on?
I started doing like red tape shit 3 years
years.
ago.
3 years
And
ago,
then, we started doing like all of it like 2 years ish
Yeah.
ago, and then we opened last like November, so almost a year open type thing.
Nice. Very good. Very good.
No,
February?
That was our grand opening.
wink.
Yeah.
The real grand opening is November.
They're already
But,
fighting. They're fighting, ladies and gentlemen.
There's gray areas. There's gray areas. Don't worry about them.
To the government, our real opening was February.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But
In Michigan.
there you go.
Yeah, the bottles tonight. We have got the whole entire Blanton's vertical tonight. We have BLANTONS tonight.
Where's the apostrophe, dude? We're leaving that? Or-
Left facing?
Yeah, left facing horse.
I think the apostrophe is over there.
Yeah.
No, we have some pretty good bottles tonight, man. It's some pretty good. I'm not even gonna say what's on the table tonight, but it's pretty good stuff.
There's
Well-
there's some really great turkey on the table.
Yeah.
There's some really great William Heaven Hill on the table, and there's some really great Bookers around the table.
Yeah,
There's a lot of old whiskey. On
Yeah.
the table. How about that?
a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping that we would try some, new releases, like regular, stuff that you find on the shelf. So I'm not sure what to make of this.
He wanted like a nice 1920. Throw that out there.
Yeah.
Could have brought you something.
Yeah.
Man.
Did you try ours? It's very standard.
It's not like these.
We should have brought him one of
Yeah.
those American honey stings
Oh, there you go.
from the gift shop. Yeah,
Hey, people like that. They did.
They
when it was-
do.
Wait,
yeah.
what is
they
that?
do.
What is that?
It's American honey with some ghost pepper
Oh, really?
extract in
it's
it.
like
yeah.
No way.
Brandon would love that.
Oh, no.
It's like a
no.
cinnamon-ish. Or
Yeah.
like-
But wait, is that still being made?
Yes, you can get it in the visitor center. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know
shop
that. I did not know it was gift shop only. There you go.
It's actually really nice.
I gotta
Brandon,
give
you've
you. I
never
got
heard of this.
our guy. So we have a guy that our guy works at EverNorth. His name's Brandon. He's been around our YouTube channel and community. He's been our guy for really
Forever.
6 years, literally. But he was the first person I ever met that watched the YouTube channel. I met him in a Kmart parking lot to trade a Burr Rye from 2015 from High West.
You know it's a long time ago because Kmart was still a thing.
That's true. That's true.
They were in business.
Oh, they were
This
booming.
wasn't an abandoned one. You know what I mean? And he traded me for an Old Forester 90 proof, another like callback to old shit. But that man So he works at EverNorth now. He grows Ghost and Reaper, like all of the brown
hateful
bucalas or whatever.
peppers.
What do they call? Whatever.
Hateful
Bucalas
peppers.
or whatever.
Yeah, chocolate bucla.
And he took a bottle of Jim Beam White Label about 2-3 years ago, and he pushed the peppers down in the bottle and let them sit in there for like a week, and then
It's
pulled
hateful.
them. And it tastes. It is hard to consume. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So then the second time around, Nick Jones loved it. Come to find out, second time around, he was like, "I'm going to put more peppers in it for longer." You can see the oil separate from the whiskey at this point. It's just
The
Jim
real
Beam
fucking
White
problem.
is all it is. And we were playing golf the other night on like a simulator. It was like, dude, if we bogey or whatever, we're going to take a drink of the thing. And I thought this was such a fun idea. And then I was the guy that did it. And so I drank it. I almost died. on
Yeah.
a live stream. It was wild.
oil.
Oh, buddy, it's like
It was like a
we
one-chip
forgot
challenge.
How hot,
But it's
it was.
whiskey.
So he found like a
alcohol
bootleg way to just extract pepper oil.
Oh,
into whiskey. Alcohol.
1,000%. So
At,
you
at
think
80
like
proof or whatever.
like the Tabasco shit that they did like a while ago. You're like, oh, that wouldn't be bad. You can drink that,
No, you can't.
or
no,
you drink
can't.
that.
Why
you
would
go,
anyone want to do that?
You
What are
can't
you
drink
doing,
dip with
guys?
Tabasco either on the record, dude. That's undrinkable.
All right, I wasn't calling them out
I am.
by name, but you are. That stuff I gave to a buddy last time there, and I go, I'm so sorry. That is so much hotter than I remember. Because I took a drink, I go, oh no, that's not good.
It's like nose running, eye watering hot. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
snotty, like not attractive hot. You know, where I'm sure your guys is balanced out pretty well. The situation in which our guy was like, we should make this because I think people would like it, and I'm like, the people who
It's
would
so
like it
wrong.
are 4 people, man. It's not like we're selling this to a lot of people thing.
So hey, you guys can just tell Wild Turkey to skip
the
spicy
pepper.
whiskey.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll stop those
pepper
experiments in the
thing.
lab right
we
now.
went down it. We went down that road. Just tell them skip.
Bruce,
you know, like
Bruce and Campari had no idea that
No,
wouldn't
yeah.
work. You know?
we tried for you. It's good.
Yeah, it's not an actual new distillery; it's a pepper plant. Is what that construction is over there right now.
Come find out.
Yeah.
A lot of money invested. We saw
He was
it.
like,
$150 million
jalapeno.
invested
No.
into these peppers. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bruce and speaking of turkey, tell us about this cuvee, bro. I'm actually sipping on this cuvee right now.
Oh
and
yeah,
holy
this is
crap.
The wildest bottle ever.
Holy
Ryan,
crap.
You the one that brought this? Yeah. Ryan's
Yeah.
got all the cool turkey. He's got cooler
Jeez.
turkey than me. He brought, I think for a lot of people, what might be the coolest, like official Wild Turkey release ever, which is the Wild Turkey Cuvée Lafayette, is a 12-year-old put out, and I mean very similar in flavor profile to the Cheesy Gold because that's kind of what it was. So we were owned by Pernod Ricard at the time, and they wanted to do a French-only release. So we sent bulk whiskey over there, and then they processed it. So used water from France and put it into a bottle, as far as I understand. And it's a beautiful package. I mean, the one Ryan's got's dated. There is one in the Campari office that's like looks like it was bottled yesterday. It's
Really?
the only mint bottle I've ever seen.
Just beautiful.
And it's a beautiful package. This beautiful like script lettering. It's all in French. And the whiskey itself, it's just really cool. There wasn't much of it made. Very unusual for us to do any type of a European only export. We were really only doing Japanese only exports, really. So it's a crazy cool bottle. Before I got into whiskey, I mean, I've been around whiskey my whole life, but there's a difference between being in the industry and being in the community.
Yeah.
Before I got into the community, and I really started to get into the community when Ryan did, because like I had a buddy getting into it, and I was like, oh, all this nerdy shit's really cool.
Yeah.
I never saw a bottle in
Cuvees
person, and I've since
really?
seen a handful of them. They're really rare. It's a really, really cool release. That's
I knew
80s 12-year-old turkey. It's awesome. You know,
Yeah.
can't beat it.
I knew it was cool. I didn't know it was that cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I've had it twice. I've seen it twice. Both were you. Obviously, I pointed at Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's
but-
got them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to find out Ryan actually owns all of them.
Dude, like,
Which
no
is
doubt.
wild.
Like, some of the best weed I've ever had in my life is it all comes from Ryan. So,
You know what's wild?
Thank you,
Well, okay,
Ryan.
Kenny
coming
saying
from
that.
Kenny. Yeah, that's, that almost
It's
feels
like a pound
inappropriate.
of salt. It's not even a grain.
I messed y'all up today, though, didn't I? That was funny.
You did.
I got y'all today on the
At
pick.
one time, a lot of people don't know this. Ryan was on his way to being a lauded sports journalist
That's right.
for his
I
turn
could see
into the whiskey world. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't see the tennis story coming, but I could see the
Yeah.
sports journalist
There you go,
side
yeah.
coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what? You didn't even know you had a career as a tennis pro.
I did not.
Yeah.
I do not.
Neither did I.
I promise you.
But
It died in the Central Kentucky tennis series. In B, whatever the B.
I will forever think of you as a tennis
B
pro.
was,
Dude, it is. I know.
You
I
and
love that
Bruce,
story. I
tennis
love that
pros.
story.
Also was a hip hop manager for a rapper.
Ron did manage a
What?
rapper when we were in college.
Was it Bruce?
No.
It was not. No, actually, it wasn't.
Man, cool it was.
Another
Oh my God.
fun fact.
Could have had like a Dr. Dre Eminem situation here, and you guys kind of
Oh, yeah,
let
we
that
could've.
go. So that's a bummer, dude.
What kind of a manager were you? You were like Suge Knight?
That guy's a murderer.
Hang you over the ankles. Not by your ankles.
I booked gigs. I made mixtapes.
That's awesome.
Ron owned
dude.
the Lexington streets, you know.
How about that, man? I'm finding out all kind of good things about you I didn't know about.
This when I was in college.
That's awesome, dude.
Come and find
For about
out.
4 years.
Ryan
Yeah.
Alves, the most fascinating man you do nothing
Everyone's
There
with.
you
like,
go.
you know,
Most
I
interesting
dabbled in
man.
shit in college. He was like, dude, I was a tennis pro. I managed
Was a
people in
producer.
hip hop.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
You
my,
did
my
everything.
favorite fun fact about myself: Barack Obama follows me on Twitter.
No
What?
way, for
Come
real?
on. Why is that?
That's actually wild.
I know.
That's actually insane.
That's the coolest thing about
That is really cool.
Is that? Does he think he's into whiskey or
What'd
tennis?
you
No, it's all food.
He's a
It
big
is
tennis guy.
1,000% food.
No, no.
I heard this guy's
guarantee
good
it.
at
Hold on.
tennis.
Do you remember when it happened?
It's been a while.
Was he the president when it
Yes.
happened? No way.
Yes.
That's actually insane.
Yeah. He follows a lot of people.
Not
but
us.
Not like
Like-
the ratio of his followers to
Obviously.
how many he follows is pretty.
You think
skewed.
he's got a lot of time as the
he follows,
president
like,
to
you know,
follow people?
He also follows Ron
100,000
only to look at his food posts on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what?
Hey,
That's
why do
fair.
you think I follow Ryan?
Yeah,
Yeah, the food post. It is.
They're next level, yeah.
Well,
My
one time
wife-
somebody did like I was having like a whiskey exchange on Twitter about selling or I don't remember what I was doing, but somebody's like in the replies was like Barack Obama follows him on Twitter. He has to be legit. Like
That's awesome.
You don't need anything
That's
else.
hilarious.
You know what you need to do?
So you get a vouch over here.
Yeah, you start a brand, and then that's the tagline behind the
yeah.
counter. It doesn't
Barack
nothing else
follows me,
matter.
baby.
That's incredible.
Screenshot of
What
it.
a
My
cool
wife
thing.
loves your Instagram.
Everybody does, dude.
Oh,
Ryan,
she's like, hey, can we be fancy enough to be like Ryan? I go, probably
well,
not.
you need an iPhone, and you need like good restaurants.
Oh.
That's all you need, because
We
that's
got
what.
that.
That's
Don't
Ryan's
hesitate at the A5 Wagyu filet mignon.
thing. Goodness gracious.
He gets it on us. So Ron comes from a
Yeah, I do.
long line of food loving and food making people. His dad was an awesome chef, cook, all the way back when he was in the military and won like awards for being like the best cook in the Navy. And his mom is awesome cook. Made some of my favorite dishes when I was growing up.
That's cool.
nice.
That's
so much
super
fun.
cool.
Thursday night football team.
Yep.
It's always there.
That's super cool.
And she made this weird thing called Mountain Dew cake. That is one of my favorite things ever.
Oh, wow.
I'm so in.
White
without
trash
even
for
hearing
You got to
it.
elaborate now. What is the Mountain Dew cake here? Come on.
It's a white cake, a yellow cake,
Yellow cake.
Okay.
soaked in Mountain Dew.
Oh, yeah.
That is so Kentucky
Oh yeah,
and so amazing.
So
You know,
good.
Tres Leches,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of
It
here.
is.
We got Mountain Dew cake.
I promise you.
It is hillbilly tres leches. That's exactly
love
what it's
that.
like.
It's like sticky and like gooey. And
Oh, man.
It's what you want out of Mountain Dew. If it's
Yeah.
named that, it's got to be
has to
that.
be.
You know what I mean? Show up. Show up.
That's great. Yeah.
Gosh, man.
Well, you know what, Kenny? You've given me a lot of good turkey pours, and I just had a little bit of that cuvee, and that might be.
Isn't that great,
That's
bro?
got to be a top,
Isn't that
top of
great?
all time. I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
it's a cool bottle.
And Ryan, did you just have peace of mind to grab these bottles back then, or was it a connection that you had,
These are
or
all recent things.
they are recent things?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you had collected them before.
Like it's funny. Like when I think about my relationship with Wild Turkey and with the Russell family. When I was
Mountain Dew cake.
when I was growing up, I thought that Bruce's family owned the distillery. Like I didn't know. I was like, oh, my friend's family owns the distillery. They own Wild Turkey.
Their name's on the.
Right.
everything.
The name is
Right.
on there, right?
And like you said, it's not uncommon for people in town or family members to work at a distillery. Everybody here does. It's sort of commonplace. It was never like a big deal to us growing up. Like it was just Eddie.
It was just normal.
Just Jimmy.
Just normal.
Okay.
We'd go on family vacations together, or our brothers are. Bruce's brother was a best man at my brother's wedding. They're very close. They played baseball together in the summer. We would go to Florida for a couple weeks every year. Like they're just them.
So, what's the biggest bottle that you guys fucked up and opened? I know there's got to be one.
Wait, you're saying from Jimmy or Eddie / collections? It's
So,
like,
so we were never
as
dumb enough
kids.
to. We were never dumb enough to
No.
fool with any of Jimmy's stuff.
No.
Dad's whole thing was like, and of course we were 21 at the time. Of
course.
But Dad's whole thing was like, if there's stuff in the garage, and I, sight unseen, whatever. It's kind of what it was. If you touch anything in the house, I'll kill you. Okay. And he would have. My dad's scary. And the funny thing is, like, we would be passing up. We actually have another buddy named Clay that we grew up with that kind of figured out before we did that, like, man, Bruce's dad makes like cool ass whiskey.
yeah.
And we had all those like 1082 rare breeds laying around that garage, and Clay would be like, I want one of those.
Yeah.
And me and Ryan would be like, I don't know, there's wine coolers in here, dude. There's peach schnapps. Like, that's easier.
Purple drink.
I like how you guys go, Pete Schnapps.
The 1082 rare breeds were kind of the things I remember, or the really early Russells, like the 10-year-old 101 that came in the tall 101 bottle. Stuff that people go crazy for now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just readily available. It's stuff that we had
It
access
just
to.
wasn't a big deal. I mean, even
Whiskey wasn't.
that's very true.
Yeah.
And also, just like you knew that. I think as a community, I think everyone really thought a lot of Jimmy, especially. Like, I mean, Bruce has told
Still
stories.
do?
Still do, obviously. But he was, he did stuff with local high schools. They were at every sporting event. Not even when Bruce and Bruce's younger brothers, I think the best athlete that's ever come through Anderson County. They would go to like a girls' basketball game or a volleyball game. Like, it didn't matter. A youth league. They didn't have to be playing. They were just really big supporters.
They were community people.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It just felt like they were regular people. I mean, Jimmy's address is still in the phone book.
Right.
Man,
That's wild.
I just imagine you
100%,
guys
yeah.
like getting a bottle of like Dusty 101 out of the garage.
101 would have been
your dad coming up and being like, "What are you guys doing?" No,
It wasn't Dusty then. That's
Yeah,
that's the wildest part.
Yeah.
I think that's why the story is so intriguing, right? Is because you hear all these stories about like, no, my dad's liquor cabinet or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
like my kid might say that, but I'm not a Russell. It's a very different liquor cabinet, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's why the story becomes so interesting, is because the access to things that now are worth hundreds or thousands of dollars,
but
would
seems
have
so
been-
commonplace.
Well, they would have
Yeah.
been normal
It's like-
then. At the time,
Yeah.
they would have been normal.
I think when you grow up in a small community like that, like Lawrenceburg, when we were growing up, it was like 7,000 people, 7,000 people. You don't think about it because in a small town, everybody is just somebody. So, like Ryan's family, they own the daycare. That's what they did.
Yeah.
My family just happened to be the distillery
Own
people.
the- yeah.
You know, like it
Own the distillery.
there was there was never any like difference. It's just like that. That's what his parents do.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
I didn't understand until I was older, probably 16, kind of what Dad and Jimmy did and what it meant.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh yeah, Jimmy's everybody's boss,
Right.
and Dad works at the distillery
Sure.
for my granddad.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until I started to see Jimmy be in magazines and stuff.
Like
Because like when you're a
globally.
kid, you don't
Yeah.
understand. Then when I was 16, I remember another buddy of ours, where I think y'all went and got breakfast stuff maybe this morning. Davey, who also has family that lives out here in Alton where we're at. Davey had like a Esquire GQ magazine that he had bought, and Jimmy was in it. That's cool. They had interviewed Jimmy about how to do the Derby like in Kentucky.
You're
and I
like,
was
hey, that's Grandpa.
I was like, what in the hell? That's cool. Why do they care about what
Yeah.
my granddad has to say? And that's when it started to finally dawn on me like, oh,
so awesome.
Jimmy's kind of a big deal
Yeah.
in his world.
Yeah.
Right.
That was before he started stealing his parking space and stuff like that.
That is, yeah.
So cool.
That's really cool. That's something that not a lot of people get to experience, right? Like a lot of kids, obviously, most kids, dads have jobs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if their dads are around, they're like, they go to work. Like, I don't know what they do. I don't care. Whatever. I worked in IT. Sean was a chemist. I don't know that either of our kids would actually
Oh,
ever care.
God, no.
Right? And so I think it's cool that, like, you get to hit a realization where you're like, well, he matters to a lot of people. That guy, like, is different than most people or whatever. And then my dad's working with him. That's a cool realization.
It's
very cool.
not only was that part cool, but to get to work with them and kind of get to understand them as people. Like I've kind of talked to my brother about this before, and I talked to my cousin Joanne, who also works with us. She didn't grow up here, so it's a little different for her. Where I grew up, obviously in the house with Dad, and I grew up 1 block away from Jimmy growing up. I was at his house every day, and when they pass away, me and Dad will probably be the only people that ever really know my granddad. when my dad passes, I might be the only person that knows him because they are different at work than they are at home. And they've always been people that really wanted to kind of separate that.
Sure.
When we're at home, and that's part of the reason like why me and Ryan didn't understand when we were kids. There was never any talk about travel or making whiskey or anything like that at home. It was home. It was, we're going to my brother's baseball game, and we're going to go to me and Ryan's football game, and that's what it was about. It wasn't about
It's
work.
family.
Yeah, I honestly, I love
I got
that.
cold chills right now, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's really cool.
It's really cool.
And I think it's been
That's
cool
cool.
too that now we're both in the industry, and I have these vivid memories of when Bruce was a first tour guide taking a tour, and that's my friend, and like seeing him kind of like grow. And I was at the
6E.
I was lucky enough to be at the Generations dinner last year. Was it last year?
Yeah, last year.
Seeing that sort of like torch passed to him from his dad, who, like he says, like doesn't speak to anyone really, and for him to get up and talk about Bruce and what he's been able to do.
That's cool.
It's really cool to see someone that I've known for my entire life. We played Little League baseball together. We played middle school sports together, high school sports together. Now that we're both in the industry and we get to work together,
You guys were almost tennis pros. So
Professional level is really
You
fun.
guys were almost
Yeah.
doubles at the Olympics
Yeah,
2020.
that's what I heard.
And it's been cool for me to see Ryan's kind of journey because he got into it after me. I was already giving tours, and I think already maybe in Austin.
Well, I mean, with all due respect,
It's a little different.
yeah.
But to see Ryan go from like making a little career change and then just start working at the store, bottom man basically, and then working his way to where he's at now. And what's cool for me is now I get people that come to the distillery will be like, man, I went over to this store in Lexington Justin's and I met this awesome guy named Ryan, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
you know,
you
that's
got
pretty
to
cool.
be the guy.
Yeah, and so it's cool to see, his journey and where he's come from. And like he said, we didn't get into it together, but to see each other kind of grow our careers and grow up in the industry, really become adults in the industry, it's been really cool.
I mean, Bruce is the reason why I walked into Justin's for the first place. Anyway,
Really?
Yeah. He when they first opened back in 2018, he was like, hey, these guys that I know opened this really cool whiskey shop, and they're specializing in old bottles. I had some old bottles at the time. He was like, you should go in there and just talk to them. Tell them you know me and tell them you're from Lawrenceburg. And that's what I did.
He's like, hey, man,
And
just
then-
drop my name. Goodbye.
And then I just kept going back. I mean, that was
I mean,
the
it
reason why. Reason why I went in there in the first place was because of Bruce telling me to go. And
That's cool.
Do you know how much I love hearing you guys talk about each other?
Dude, it's awesome.
fantastic.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, I know.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So
Yeah.
I'm just soaking it up.
I can
I'm a
feel the
sponge
love.
over
It's
here.
the whiskey bromance of
Yeah.
literally ever.
Like,
You know,
seriously.
people talk about me and Dan. It might be you and Bruce.
One of my favorite memories like that is because he's also been able to do very cool things that are very public, whether it be a podcast or a commercial with Matthew McConaughey or whatever it is that he's been able to do for his
Just
career.
little things,
He was also in was it GQ or Esquire?
GQ.
GQ.
Because he's a good looking dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was in a
Good for you.
That was like one of my. I still have the magazine at my house. A GQ magazine with Little Freddie from. It was the launch of Little Book, I think.
Yeah,
And
right
I still-
around that time.
I still have the and then
Me, him,
Rob
and,
Samuels.
Rob.
from Makers.
That's cool.
And it was like the next generation of these whiskey makers or whatever story and article, and it was this really
We're-
cool interview style.
Were you and Eddie, or was it your dad you said, were you guys in the same magazine?
No, this was
This was me, Freddie, over at Beam,
Okay, yeah.
and Rob. Me and Dad have been in a couple of things together.
That's cool.
But that was like the first time the one he's talking about, the first time I kind of felt like,
Yeah.
this is kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm with these dudes. Like Freddie and me are around the same age. Rob's a little older, so it's not. I don't like look up to them in the way that like I look up to Dad or Jimmy or like a Fred. No, but they are people that I like look to in the industry.
Yeah. They're peers.
Especially
Yeah.
Freddie, because Freddie's doing the same kind of stuff that I'm doing, like creating products, following in his dad and his granddad's footsteps. Very similarly, like he's kind of turned more like his granddad was, like I am turned more like Jimmy.
Okay.
And it's been really cool to kind of see him and what he's done. And I mean, I looked at everything he does inspiration, and because there's not many of us left. Like, I'm really glad that so many people have got back into whiskey, but it is different when, you know, you grew up going there, you grew up, you know, just around the distillery, and there's not that many of us that were around it like that.
The generational thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say Jack Daniels is like the only one that has that.
Well, they're holding this, 70, whatever they tell us every time.
It's
70%
like
of their
60%,
distillery is
yeah.
generational or something.
Yeah.
But the different...
You're not allowed to leave.
No.
Maybe.
Hey, whoa, I didn't
That
say
is a
that.
very,
Might not.
hey,
Allegedly.
I'll be the official one. That is a very odd situation down
No,
there.
but
I'm just going to say that.
Kentucky's different than Tennessee, though, because you guys were all so close to each other.
Yeah.
Like, geographically.
We're in
you guys-
Tennessee, to be honest. It
Yeah.
was just them and Dickel for
Exactly.
the longest time.
Yes.
You chose to be there. It felt like Jack
Yeah.
Daniels. They forced him to be there. But other than that, it's fine.
And in Kentucky, we're all so close to each other, both geographically and just like when I was growing up, Jimmy's best friends were Booker and Elmer and Parker Beam and
Man.
Lincoln Henderson, people like that.
That's so freaking awesome.
And
Yeah.
when I was growing up, like, I didn't like, they were just my granddad's boring buddies.
Yeah.
And like, you
They're over
know,
here playing bridge on Sunday. You're like, fuck this.
but we would go to like the Bourbon Festival, which is now like a big produced thing that, you know, people from all over come to
Turkey
shoot
honey,
content
baby.
and all this stuff. Well, when I was a kid, it would be like one big table. My granny would bring flowers, and her and Jimmy would just sit there, and he would pour whiskey, and my granny would talk to people, and I would just sit there and run around with the other little kids. At that time, Freddie would have been running around, you know.
Yeah.
And it just to see what bourbon's become, where it's not just a handful of families, but to see all those families, like to see the Nose and parts of the Beams and us and the Henderson family still involved, and it is pretty cool.
I think what will be interesting is to see, because what you're explaining is special. That's a very special thing and a very unique thing.
Yeah.
I think it'll be, the whiskey industry it is competitive for you guys. Its legacy is competitive. They, to some extent, have to compete, right? But it'll be really interesting to see, and you hope that in the future we look back and go, man, remember Bruce and, remember Bruce and Freddie hanging out. Remember these guys. You hope that it's the same exact cycle or loop or
Mentality.
whatever. But in like 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because it is special and unique and it's different. A lot of industries, Google and Apple, that's not a friendly thing, right? That was never a Steve and whatever, Microsoft and Apple, whatever. They hate each other. That's never a friendly. This is a very community-based,
Yeah, it's
almost
like when we
loving
did that
relationship.
Generations thing.
Well, how
right?
do you drink whiskey and be mad at someone else?
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's true.
That's fair.
But when we did that Generations thing and Ryan was there, I don't know many other industries like you were saying where it was really more. It's less of a celebration of the family and more of a celebration of Jimmy. It's kind of
Yeah.
what I thought
Yeah.
about it, and to see, other massive distillers like old ones like
Yeah.
Ed Foote, Jim Rutledge, people like that, to like Max Shapiro who owns Heaven Hill, like. Fred sit at our family table. The only people that sat at our table were our immediate family and Fred, because that's how close he is with Dad and Jimmy.
Yeah. That's special.
And like
Yeah.
afterwards, the very first person that came up to me and gave me a hug and like gave me advice that I hold dear to his advice was Freddie.
That's so cool.
He gave me some advice because he's gone through a lot, like a year or two before I did,
Yeah.
coming in like passing the torch.
Yep.
And I don't know any other industries. You're right. They're like, we really do all kind of look out for each other in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's, I think you all know this because you've gotten into the industry. This industry has such dope people in it that are so generous with their time, their effort. I tell buddies of mine when you get in, and Ryan knows this, Ryan's one of these people. If you want to try whiskey, somebody will send you something in the mail.
Yep.
If you want to go check out a place, hit one of us up. We'll
Yep.
open up the doors and show you everything.
Yep.
Talking about taking Justin around earlier. Like, that's what our industry is all about. I'm like you, I hope
I hope.
2 generations from now,
hope.
somebody else is having one of these talks
Yeah.
about, oh man, I went to Wild Turkey and I met the dude and they were so cool. That stuff's what makes our industry
hope.
special.
I do hope.
Well,
It's different.
I think this is the great transition because the community that Dan and Sean have built, I think, is like that new wave community of people that obviously we're in it because we like, the whiskey and the bottle, first and foremost. But I think what you guys have built it means more to people. That's been really cool for me to watch you guys. We were complete strangers at one time and became like best friends, my brothers.
Yeah.
And to see like people genuinely like you guys and want you to succeed more than just chase whatever bottle's coming out or whatever. It's that is like hopefully what can kind of spur that next generation on is.
Ryan was the guy, by the way, that you were describing. That was like the best of us.
Yeah. You gotta realize that like most people, you're a special person. You come across like a real normal dude because you're a normal guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think the thing is
He's
like
yeah.
when you look up to these people
Right.
who are in these positions, and then you meet them and you hang out. You spend a day with Bruce. You're like, Bruce is an awesome guy because Bruce is like hang out with you, and he's a normal person. But I think what you find is like everybody's here for the same damn reason. It's not a different reason. We all like whiskey. We had, like you said, we had a barrel pick today. I think we went through, I don't know, 12, 15, whatever barrels. Picked 6 of them throughout the whole day. Had a great day. It was awesome. Everybody was there, was having a good time, drinking good whiskey, enjoying each other's company, which is so important.
I think that's the send home there.
Yeah.
It's enjoying
That's what everybody
people's company.
wants. Did you have a little whiskey, enjoy some people's company?
I've had whiskey and not enjoyed people's company. It's just not the same.
I just leave.
Yeah,
for
it's
that.
just not the
That's
same.
Whiskey helps if you're in
helps.
bad company. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. But it is special. The people in the community, listen, our community, I'll say it till I die. I'll say it till this channel is literally deleted off YouTube because we're not allowed to do alcohol or something.
It'll be soon. So soon.
The Bourbon Junkies community is built very different from a lot of communities. We have a very different group of people. We have a very different loyalty. The people in our community are ride or dies. And that's a special thing, and that's an important thing. And I think we're very fortunate to have that group of people.
Agreed.
But that's the same reason that we'll stay transparent. It's the same reason that we won't lie to them. That's the same reason we tell patrons how much money we spend on shit. I mean, we like keep everything as public as possible because they deserve to know, because they're part of the group. We're going on a ride together.
Yeah.
But we're going on a ride with all of those people.
Yeah.
It's not just Sean and I. It's everybody.
Let's talk about what we're doing and why we're doing it, and let's just be friends. Let's hang out. This is what whiskey is about.
Yes, I got to go to Michigan with Ryan a couple weeks ago. Month ago. Kind of like self-invited myself, but that happens a lot.
Just like today.
Just like
He
today.
does it all the time.
I actually crashed the picks today. I self-invited myself, but
Okay, Bruce can speak to that, but to our event, you're welcome. I don't know why you're saying that.
the bourbon, it was very like legit. People love you, and that's you all have great supporters, and that's what is awesome. Is just the people. So the whiskey's good, but the whiskey is now come second place to the people and the experiences and the memories that you make. So that's where I'm at, man.
Dude, the only thing that
it's
makes
the people and the memories, dude.
The only thing that makes this better is sharing it with people that you like.
Right, exactly.
The
It
thing
is.
that makes
It's the people and the experiences, man.
Dude, this is an insane bottle of Wild Turkey Tribute, right?
Right.
The thing that makes that bottle cool is not drinking it at home alone.
Right.
It's that when I see you, because I don't get to see you very often.
Right.
So when I see you, I give you a fucking hug and we drink that together.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So
And I pocket pour you from my waist.
in your pocket porn.
It's always so warm.
It's wild. I love
stuff, dude. So
it.
I mean, I saw it happen in the visitor center. There's my most famous friends over here. We go down to the visitor center and just some guy turns around. He's like, "I love your all's YouTube." And it was kind of cool to see because he was so excited to see you all.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Those guys drove from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
They drove from Pennsylvania.
I did get to talk to people while I was trying to rescue Matt's drone. They're like, Bourbon Junkies. I was like, hey, what's going on? And I was like,
They were on a tour while
they
we
were doing a
the
tour.
thing.
And I was like, hey, like, what's happening? And they were like, I'm trying to get this drone off the fucking roof right now.
Which will be in the video at some point.
Oh, yeah. That was...
That's like my favorite thing too, because
Such a-
I give these guys a ton of shit.
As
all
you
the
should.
time. Like
As you should.
We spent the day with Michter's yesterday, about 8 hours with the Michter's president, master distiller,
Shout out Alex.
master maturation. Shout out Alec for setting that.
Alec.
Ruben.
But the whole time, like a couple hours in, they quickly realized that like every other word is somebody giving someone shit in this group.
Yeah.
But so it's funny because every time we're together, whether we're in a liquor store, because we'll do that if we go somewhere, we'll just stop in the local liquor store and see what's up, or we're in the airport, or we're at a distillery doing something, never fails that someone stops him and like asks for a photo. We were at one with Bourbon Lore in Arizona. And these women just
That was
like
wild.
We thought
just
we were
came
getting
out of
in
nowhere.
trouble.
We thought
Yeah.
we were being chased by these people.
Yeah.
They came after us. They were like, hey. We're like, oh, I'm so sorry. We're going to move. We're leaving. It's fine. And she goes, my husband loves you. And we're like, oh. And she goes, can I get a picture with you? It'll drive him nuts. I was like, hell yeah. I was like, Dad, get the fuck over here.
We see it all the time. Like people like recognize him or whatever, and I always give him shit. And like we're in a public place, I'm like, oh my god, it's the Bourbon Junkies. You know, just like
You're the worst at that.
But it's really cool to see people like legitimately love you guys, and I think that's a testament to.
Y'all are real, man.
That's
Y'all are
exactly
real.
what I'm saying. Like,
There's nothing.
Y'all are
else.
relatable. You're real.
There's no energy for
There's
it.
no
It
point
is.
to not be.
It is, man.
You imagine, this is what I tell everybody is like, we get often what we get a lot is I watch
People
YouTube
think we're an
channel,
act.
and then
Nah, man.
I met you guys in person, you're the same person or whatever.
Dan's
And
this dumb.
I
It's a
can't-
real thing.
Although you didn't like me online at first, but that's all right.
dude, the way that we are, I guess technically probably second interaction was wild, but
Dan was trying to ban you, by the
I
way.
was actually off our Facebook group.
Dan
I
was
hate
like, I'm
Facebook
banning
groups.
this guy.
banning this
hate
guy.
I go, hey, that's like Kenny.
But no, you didn't know that either. That's not true at all. So, anyways, but what happened?
For sure did.
But no, you didn't. Anyways, no, you're the reason we didn't meet. Dan. So
I
anyways,
was shaking my head no.
Yeah.
That's
Go ahead.
true.
we're gonna tell that story.
but
That's a good
You got to tell that one.
truthfully, the thing about it is when you meet people, you're like, I don't have the energy to be me there. And then when you meet me, be that guy when you meet me because you want me to be that guy now, right?
Yeah.
You want the energy to be the same, and you want the character to be. And not that characters don't work for certain people because they definitely do.
Disrespect.
But man, is that not a nightmare when you're when you're in Kentucky and it's Whiskey Row and we run into people or whatever. It's like I don't want to snap and then it's a light switch and I'm not
Have to
me
turn it on.
anymore. I have no interest in that at all. Which is why the channel's always just been Sean and I doing what just
Dumb shit.
Sean and I on camera and Sean and I off camera, not different people.
Are
Sean
you-
and I argue the same amount. It's obnoxious.
No, it's probably more.
It's probably more.
off
Sean's
camera.
more OCD off camera,
Yeah,
maybe even actually.
it's tough.
Are you guys top sub channel now on
No,
YouTube?
not
No,
even
hell
close.
no.
Okay,
Bruzel
no.
blew us out of the water.
Okay.
Bruzel bros.
Bruzel
Everyone.
jumped on.
Oh, yeah,
like
Bruzel. I forgot
He
about
got on
Bruzel.
that short train like
Yeah.
a bad
Yeah.
mother effer for a little while.
Yeah.
And then Tribe is far
Yeah.
bigger than us.
Okay.
Really?
So yeah,
I didn't know that.
Dang,
Tribe's
man.
got like 600K or something.
Wow.
And y'all are my favorite though on YouTube.
But,
appreciate
but
that.
I
Yeah.
will
I
say,
appreciate
like,
that.
Oh, I
loyalty,
hate us.
I think loyalty, like, if we're going to put up,
Community wise, it's
the top 1,000,
a little different.
I'll
Yeah,
take our community over anything.
that's what
Like-
I also think you guys have done a good job of.
Yeah.
Is that you've built a community around you that like
Loves you.
Yeah, but it's
And
more
it's
than
not even
views.
that, it's just
it's
more
more
they
than
just wanna
clicks,
hang
it's more than
out.
subscriber numbers. It's more than all that. It just means it's different.
Your subscriber number. Listen, I mean, Sean, you can. I'm not saying anybody did.
Love this.
You can buy subscribers.
Sure.
It's cheap as hell, truthfully.
Yeah.
The problem is if your content's not consistent, people don't watch that, right? They come to the channel once, they see a video they like, they leave. What I will say is, like, subscribers matter so little when it comes to, like, are you relating to the people that are around you? Do they feel heard and relatable? And
Right.
are you willing to listen to them? Are you willing to interact with them? Are you willing to be the guy that you were in the video that they liked when you meet them? Are you the person? If you're not, then dude, it's not going to work, man. And community is literally nothing is more important.
It'll
There's
work
not a
for
single
I would
thing.
say
It'll work for this
year after
videos.
year, the thing that speaks volumes is Porters in the Barn.
Yeah.
We've got the ride or dies that come on and out that we've talked to every year. And we got the people that are just happy to be there in the community. It's like, they don't give a shit to talk to us. They're there to hang out in the event and do the bottle share and just be a part of the community.
The community is everything, man.
Well,
I think it is for everybody. I think it is for distilleries.
It's perfectly translated too. Like now you have your own brand. Like I can see it from both sides of the coin. 'Cause we work together like professionally.
retailer.
And I'm the retailer.
Yeah.
And it is.
You ever
this-
thought about picking up doubles tennis with me, though?
I don't think you want none of that, dog. I don't think you want none
You
of
don't want that
that.
smoke.
It's
You don't
been
want
this,
that smoke?
like, organic thing that has happened over time, and now has given
Hey, I'm not
guys
trying to steal from you, bros.
like it's almost like a built-in. I don't know, like you base.
Well,
Right.
it
You know, like-
intentionally turned from, hey,
Yeah.
man, we're selling a lot of other people's whiskey.
Sure.
Also, there are...
Please continue to do that.
and we will, because Bruce gave us incredible barrels today, right? But truthfully,
Appreciate that.
we were selling a lot of other people's whiskey. We'll call it problem number one, right? We don't make a lot off other people's whiskey, right? Would attach to that, we don't like how, we'll say through COVID-ish, whatever.
Come to find out, we have a brand now. We understand why no one makes money.
No. A ton of brands. There's a lot of cash grab brands through COVID. There's a lot of $200 bottles. Nobody knows anything about it. It's for MGP. It's whatever. I don't mean to not shout to MGP. That's whoever put it in the bottle for that.
So and so signed on their face.
So the problem becomes, well, now there's a problem with the whole sector of the industry that has nothing to do with Legacy, because Legacy doesn't. There's not even transparency for you guys. You guys make your own whiskey. Where's the whiskey come from? It comes from you guys.
Us.
There's a huge lack of transparency in NDPs, contract distillation, spirit companies, barrel companies, whatever. And then you add losing transparency to rising prices, right? So the enthusiast, the consumer gets worse whiskey for a higher price tag and knows less about it.
Yeah,
so buys
$80, who knows what is in the bottle.
Well, not even, dude. 80 would have been on the low end
It's
of these
cheap
things.
end, yeah.
And so
120.
the
Let's
problem
call it
is I'm going to the store every time buying a new bottle, and every time I don't know what's in it, and every time I don't like it, and maybe 1 out of 5 or 6
I've
times.
been there many times.
It's a disaster.
It's rough. It's rough when you go into the total line and you're like, what the fuck is this brand?
And I have to pause on this real quick and say, because you guys are stressing community, and community is so important, but it's the right kind of community. Because there's so many influence places, and I guess people look at our podcast as a place of influence. Well, who's bought and paid for? Who's pushing something true, right?
Bruce, you want to talk
I don't want names. I'm just saying, I kind of know, right? I know, but I'm just saying it's like that's where I feel like you carve out a unique space of influence and community, because people trust you. And I had that happen to me, right? There were a couple websites I won't name and a couple people that I trusted, and I would go into stores and look at their reviews and be like, I'm going to buy that bottle because of this review. And I buy it. I'm like, is something wrong with me? This doesn't taste very good. You know what I mean? And so I think that's another part of this equation.
I would say, like, for me, because me and Ryan have had buddies get into it,
right?
And that's one of the very first things they want to know after they get over that initial, like, I'm just going to buy everything I see phase.
Right.
Is who should I
Trust.
who should I trust? What reviews should I look at? Like, who should I listen to?
Right.
Or they'll ask us questions, and my advice is, like, find somebody that really came into it for the love of the game. Like, they were where you were at. They were true fans.
Right.
Because to me, most of those people they're just going to tell you what they think about the whiskey. That's where they're here. They're here for the whiskey and the community. They're not in it to be a millionaire. They're not in it to be super famous. They're not, you know what I mean? And
right.
Most of the people that started that way, they're going to tell you what they think. And that's what I appreciate. Like, people ask all the time, oh no, somebody wrote something that...
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
You
Like,
know.
how do you feel like when somebody says something like really negative about a turkey product?
Unless you're being just awful and just being a jerk, right? Because some people are. Some people just want to be a contrarian and, like, because I mean, we see stuff like this. They'll be like, Russell's 15 is one of the worst whiskeys I've ever had. It's like, have you only had 2 whiskeys, and the other one was like cheese and gold foil or something?
And even now we're talking.
Yeah, and the other one was that like 12-year-old Van Winkle. Like,
even
from
then
the
we're
80s.
talking.
Tyrone G.
But like, so some people are like that. But if it's not somebody just being a jerk, I love criticism in the fact that, like, maybe there is something to what they're saying, and maybe I can work on this, or maybe we do something different next time. Because most of the cool thing about our community that we're all in, a lot of our recent releases have come directly or indirectly from the community and stuff we've seen. Like, there would not be Russell's 13 or Russell's 15, literally, if there weren't private barrel picks where people are like, man, Camp Nelson, oh my God, Camp Nelson. Like, we didn't know.
Right.
We knew there was good whiskey at Camp Nelson, but we didn't know people were going to go nuts about it.
Right.
And that type of stuff helps us.
You're also never going to put out a product that everyone loves.
No, you can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
That's the hardest part.
So I think, like, most people should be, like, you all should be, when you're putting out whiskey. You should put out a whiskey that you're proud of, that you'll stand up for, and that you think is because not everybody can do the same quality, because everybody's place is different.
Right.
Everybody's in a different spot. Put as high quality whiskey as you can into the bottle.
Love that.
And then who likes it, and who doesn't. Hopefully it works out. Like, I want everybody to enjoy our whiskey.
Right.
But, you know.
You guys have one of the greatest commercials of all time, ever, in whiskey. And it was Jimmy and Eddie sitting at a table. I think there's a bottle of 101 or whatever. And I think Eddie read like a tweet or a review or something, and it was like, this Wild Turkey 101, blah, blah. And it goes, tell them to send it back. I'll drink it.
Yeah.
And it's one of the greatest because it is your perspective, your philosophy on it. I wholeheartely agree with that. I like different stuff than he likes. You like different stuff.
Oh,
than
I saw
we
that
like.
today.
You saw it. And now, hey, really quick, this is a spoiler alert, but on the record,
boy.
Bruce and I are on the same page often, we found out today.
Wait, how much shit was talked about me while I was trying to get a drone off?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, that's
We did say, I think
Sean
that
who?
his tongue came out of, like he lost every taste bud through
Sean who?
COVID.
That's fair.
But, dude, everybody likes different whiskey. It's just how it works. We all.
I'm gonna strangle you tonight.
Listen, truthfully,
What's up?
hopefully.
Real love
Truthfully,
fest over here.
Listen, Sean and I, like on record and like very often and very publicly, are not Dickel profile fans. We just don't like the profile of Dickel. Dickel's clearly a very successful brand.
Yeah.
Dickel's the perfect example from people who agree, like the same whiskey Sean and I like. That not every whiskey's for every person. And I think that if you don't believe, I think that if you go into it and go, this bottle of whiskey in front of me right now that we're putting out, everybody's going to love it. And if everybody says they hate it, they're insane. And I think that's an ego issue. I think that's a pride issue.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, I love Amburana. Sean hates Amburana. I know when we
disgusting.
release an Amburana, the people who like Amburana, it's a love-hate thing. And I think,
Mostly hate.
I truthfully believe, for us, it'll always be one of us at EverNorth will like the whiskey that goes into that bottle.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to, it will never be all of us realistically, almost ever. But one of us will enjoy it. And that's why I went in there. It's because one of us really liked it. You know what I mean? One of us will stand behind that bottle when you drink it and say, I liked that one. He didn't, whatever, but I did. You know, for these reasons or whatever. I think that's so important. I think that's far more important than hoping 7 million people all like this and nobody hates it. I think that's insane.
You were talking about Dickel, their new
Schmeckle.
master distiller, Nicole Austin. I think it's her name. She's done an awesome job. I know somebody that kind of worked on those brands, and I've heard she kind of pushed through some of that age-stated stuff, kind of behind some people's backs
They're like, we
almost,
gotta
just
get
to get
rid
it
of
through,
this.
because she wanted some really good whiskey out there. And I think they've done a great job. But if it's not your profile, it's not your profile. Like,
Exactly.
100%.
I've had people come up to me that are like, they expect us to have something that they're going to like. And I'm like, what do you drink? And they'll tell me they only drink super easy wheaters. And then they're like, am I going to
man.
like Russell's 15? And I'm like, probably not.
Probably not.
It's probably not for you, because it is in your face, full flavor.
Yeah.
So, there's something for everybody. It's just...
Everybody's in a different standpoint of their journey, right? When I'm new to whiskey, Russell's 15 ain't the move for me, right?
Yeah.
Currently, I think today as we sit at this table that Russell's 15 is currently whiskey of the year.
Yeah.
Like legitimately.
1,000%.
And so I think when you go through it, there are just moments in time. There was a time where I wanted the highest proof I could find. There's times now where I want 114s or
There's times that we
110s.
never liked ryes.
Right. We said all ryes were bad at one
Yeah.
point.
Everybody
on
has
camera.
faults.
Yeah. Hey, whoa.
Yes, so
Hey, I got hand
What'd
up
you say about
accountability.
Triumph, Sean?
Hey, buddy, I want to
I'd like to point to Bourbon Junkies Triumph review where we both enjoyed it a lot. Actually.
But I blinded you a Triumph tonight and you loved it. So,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, really?
He
For
did.
real?
Yeah, he loved it.
Oh, it's
I
just a
loved it.
comparison issue then
Yeah.
in that
I
video.
think
It was.
I said you tasted what, like 8 ryes back to back?
It was
And unfortunately, TKO barrel was number 1.
Dude, that
Triumph was number
TKO,
2.
dude, Alves's TKO is literally stupid.
So I
Like
went
stupid
from
in like the stupidest word of stupid.
Right.
the wildest rye to the lowest proof rye back to back. And I told Dan this 3 times. I go,
Which is
fuck you. You did that maliciously. He goes, I didn't think about it at all.
I did. Now, here's the thing. The other thing is, I compared, and this is a with all due respect thing, because we liked Cornerstone a lot. That was Cornerstone release was the year of Parker's Heritage rye, and then the Jack rye.
Hey, I will say in our review, I said I like Cornerstone more. And then that blind, I did give Triumph a 40.
I like Triumph
So that's
more
my
than
bad.
Cornerstone.
That's my
Like I
bad.
love the growth cycle on that. Like Triumph. I like Barely Legal Rye or Kentucky Rye or those types of things a lot. Like
I blame Dan for the lineup that I got.
Dude, these
and
high
I
corn-
will blame anything under the sun to get out
That's fair.
of this grading that I did.
You guys did poorly. I was sick. Unfortunately for the video, I couldn't be there to be the voice of reason.
You're
And
real
often
fuck.
I am.
I can't wait to fuck you up.
Sean's palate's bad lately.
Yeah,
It is bad, dude.
We've been
You
around.
guys should have been there today. Kenny was.
I was there
Ryan
today.
Was.
You know what?
It was bad.
Best barrel of
dude.
the day.
buddy.
Alec got it. Number 8.
Okay,
Oh,
that's a
no.
hot take because
No,
he didn't.
Ours is better.
Ours is
No,
better,
sir.
but Sean picked the wrong barrel.
I think
Twice.
Alex was top 3.
I agree with
I think
that.
the 2 C&Es. I
Alex was a CNE.
think
It was.
I think Ryan actually might have snuck in there and got one of
I
the top
agree.
3 on that Tyrone Be There thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was that barrel one of the second? Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree wholeheartedly. That being said,
Our second one.
I know, but even
We got there. We got there.
It took a lot, but anyway, thank God for Ryan and Bruce, right?
Yeah.
But
It's
anyways,
Bruce.
I walked out with probably what I think was the best whiskey that we drank today out of a barrel, which was that CNE that you're talking.
He stole a barrel, by the way. You might want to
I
check
hand
on
it to
that.
Sean, and he smells it and drinks it and goes, "I got to compare it to 7," and I'm like, you got to be.
There's no comparison to
You
7.
have to
Kenny
be
looked at me. He's
messy.
like,
Hey,
if
hey.
they,
I said no.
If they pick 7, they're
That's what I told him.
crazy.
I was like, yeah. I said no. 7
didn't
is
pick
not
7
even.
the first time, and
Nope.
whatever,
Yeah.
dude. I wouldn't
Real
pick at
quick.
7 ever the second
Real
time.
quick. I was like 35 minutes and trying to fix
Gosh, dude.
a drone issue.
Your brain. We
So-
got to get a scientist, or brain, a neurologist.
Yeah.
we need one of those.
So I'm like 35 minutes and trying to fix a drone issue for Matt Porter. I come in and you go, hey, try this. I go, it's pretty fucking good.
Hey, really quick.
You go, do you think it's better than 7? I go, I don't know.
I did. Everybody that drank it knew.
Hey man, my brain wasn't thinking about whiskey.
I know.
What I
I
thought
haven't said
was,
that. I haven't seen. Yeah.
I'm trying to get this goddamn drone out.
OCD nonsense about
Get
a
now-
drone, dude.
I'm sorry. Tyrone A.
Hey, when this
trying to
was
get it
going
out.
on, why don't you guys call me and tell me to come up and sub in, please?
Yeah, right.
And they were drawing some rye barrels. So I pour Sean a little pour. And he really enjoyed what we had.
Yeah, he's a real motherfucker.
I said not to say the F word. Just on.
It
We're
don't
deep.
matter.
We're deep enough now.
we are,
You've
yeah.
said it
Yeah,
74
we'll figure it
times.
out.
Yeah,
We are a full explicit on this particular cast. It's
Yeah.
fine.
True.
So he handed me a Glen. Goes, let me know what you think of that. He goes, it's ride number 1. I go,
What?
what the fuck?
Buy this. Buy
I
it.
go,
Buy
hey.
it. Buy it.
I go, whatever that is, bottle
Buy
it
it.
right now.
Bottle
He goes,
it right
well,
now.
you got a time machine? 'Cause
Sean's,
that's cheese
Sean's
goat
words
full.
were, "That's better than every barrel we tasted today so far." And Kenny goes, "If you have a time machine, you can get it."
What?
What was it?
88 CGF.
Oh, okay.
So I stand by that.
Now,
There you go.
now
Yeah.
I want also just this is a pride thing, and I'm going to take it.
Oh, go ahead.
Hand up accountability on this me being an ego thing for me.
Appreciate
Kenny
that.
handed me the thing.
I tried just before that, right?
He
I gave
tried
it
to mess with me.
Were
He's got a-
you?
he's got a Glen.
Were you trying to
Glenfull
save a drone off the roof?
You weren't either. You were in the Rick
you were
house.
back in the Rick house.
We were back. You would actually just pick.
Back over to the other
You would
side.
finally
Been
pick
there
the
for
right
20
barrel on a
minutes.
barrel pick.
Yeah, that's right.
And so Kenny hands it to me, and he goes, "You picked that barrel?
You picked
And I'm like,
7 instead of 8?
like,
or
yeah,
whatever
man.
I said.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? Yeah. He goes, man, you didn't try the last
You didn't
one?
try this one, dude.
And I look at Kenny and go, was I outside for the last one or something? There's no way I didn't try the last one. I tried one after the one that was my favorite
Yeah.
one. Kenny goes, no, there was one more. And I'm like, oh, that was the last one? And he goes, yeah, man. And I drank it, and I looked at him, and I go, you're a piece of shit. I'm like, that's not what we drank today. Now, so I do want it on record that I did catch it, and Sean didn't know that a rye wasn't cheesy gold foil.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he tried to get me right before that on the exact same pour. Yeah. And I smell it and I go, that is not modern whiskey.
Last week he did the same thing, and Bruce's dad, Eddie Russell.
Eddie.
Yeah, tell the story.
Oh, gosh. Dude, that's so good.
Into an 1800s dirt floor.
This
Oh,
is the
my
greatest
gosh.
story.
Dude, go ahead, Albert. Tell him, Ryan. It's so funny.
We were picking last week with David Jennings, and then just randomly out in the pick, like Eddie walks in. Weren't expecting him. They were doing some interviews and stuff.
Did he talk when he came in or not? Sorry.
He walked in. And all kind of stood there.
Yeah.
And then I think he said something. I think everybody turned around and was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like
We got to listen.
he was just there.
He just appeared.
And so he like steps into the group, and we were on the barrel 5 or 6 or something, and Kenny immediately just hands him a glass.
Pocket pours.
Pocket poured him.
Pocket pours.
He thought
Kenny feature.
that Kenny had given him
Like barrel 5
barrel
or 6.
5 or whatever we were on. And he was like, "This is the best one." And Kenny's like, "That's the best one."
That's the best one.
Oh no!
He takes one drink of 88 and cheesy go for him,
He did take 2 drinks.
2
To be
drinks.
fair. To be fair.
and then poured the rest. Just chucked the rest of it.
Tossed it.
Tossed it onto the dirt floor.
Well, he did think it was a barrel.
and then walked up to the top of the barrel where Bruce was, and was like, "Give me that other barrel." And Bruce is like, "Well, you haven't had this one." And he was like, And then Bruce like, "I think he gave you something different." And we all
he
kind of
turned
look
around.
back,
We're
and
all
Kenny's
laughing.
dying
Dude.
laughing.
We're all dying.
And we tell him what it was, and he was just like, "All right."
But before he realized what it was, he drinks a normal Tyrone
Yeah.
G private pick.
He
He's
was
like,
like, "That's
I
better."
like this one. Really? So he liked the Tyrone G private pick that I think y'all actually ended up
We
going
took
with.
it.
Hey, blind is best, man.
He did.
You know what that is?
funny.
Yeah.
That's Eddie's pick, buddy.
Yeah.
Because I'm, an expert at naming barrels. We
Sure.
called that one Eddie Knows Best.
I love that.
Dude, it
Because it was
was.
immediately, he looked back and we was like, "What?" And he was like, "This is the one I like. I like
Yeah.
that better." And Bruce was like, "Well, you ain't had that one."
I would love to hear between you and Bruce, what is your guys' favorite like whiskey memory?
Yes.
Ooh, wow.
You know what?
Wow,
I was gonna,
I'll go deep
I was going to
dive.
ask that, but I'm glad that you're standing in today. I haven't enough.
I'm gonna lean in. You guys have known each other forever, obviously.
I think I've said this one on the mashup, so I'll go first and I'll be quick. I have these. I separate them into like a couple of different things, right? The best whiskey I've ever had was at House of Bourbon, and I think it was one of the first Dusties that Kenny ever tasted. And I told him after we had this, I was like, "Don't get into Dusties. You just shouldn't."
and here
It's
we
like
are.
real dark.
Yeah,
Game
well,
over.
yeah.
Right.
People don't know, but you were right.
Yeah,
And
well,
it was,
Kenny
he
was
did
wrong.
anyways.
Yeah.
Anyway, he ignored me. It was a 15-year Old Fitzgerald, very, very old Fitzgerald from the 50s. And it is the best whiskey I've ever had. So, but that's not my favorite memory, but that's the best whiskey I've ever had.
I want your favorite.
I know, getting there. Bruce, it was one year, I think it was around Christmas. I think
Yeah,
I've
it
told
was.
this before.
It was Christmas holiday.
I like how you already
Yeah.
knows the story.
We were at Bruce's parents' house. We were just hanging out. We're drinking. And Eddie had a bottle of American Spirit, a 14-year. And Bruce like pulls it down from the thing and like pulls the cork out and the cork just breaks. It disintegrates. And Eddie was like, "What the fuck?" I've had that. He had like a toothpick like wedged in there perfectly. And he like had it, and he knew exactly.
His booby trap.
He knew
How to
exactly
open it.
how to open it
Yeah.
without ruining this cork. And Bruce just came in like a bull in a china shop,
Yeah.
ripped it open. And I remember him just being like, "What in the fuck are you doing?" Like, I've had this cork, perfect for years. And we ended up drinking the bottle, like killing the bottle, and that's like one of my favorite memories.
That's cool.
And then I told this story before of when we did the Jack Daniels pick with me,
Yeah.
you and Sean, Dan and Sean, Matt, and our friends Dan and Julie.
Yep.
Just in an Airbnb in Tennessee
Yep.
for
Hanging
a couple
out.
of days, hanging out, just laughing.
We thought we
telling-
were going to die one day.
Oh,
we all
yeah.
thought we were going
We
to die.
definitely thought we
Talking
were gonna
about
die,
conspiracy theories. Like
They weren't
just-
conspiracy
They weren't.
theories.
but They're legit.
Maybe we'll-
Just sharing whiskey. Those things for me like just mean more.
Yeah.
Because it's not anything just us. It's just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed. I get to try whatever whiskey I want. I get to try a lot of stuff from a lot of places. If it's out there, I can get access to it.
Yeah.
And what I love doing is sharing it with everybody else too. So it's very frequent that we get to sit around a table like this and have epic whiskey on the table and everybody enjoy it.
Fucking Kenny.
Yeah, that's been the greatest thing for me is like exposing this dude to
Yeah.
whiskey.
I
and
hate
him
you.
just, like,
You've cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I
just,
couldn't believe that number. I believe
literally
it.
taking
Yeah.
it off to a complete nuclear level.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But him not being an asshole about it, him not you come to his house and he will share it with you.
100%.
Dude,
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're the most experienced drinker or a brand new one.
Yeah, he's
he
tried
is
to kill me
going
several
share with
times,
you.
yeah.
It's just like those things just mean a lot.
share it,
We
man.
have
Crack
to-
it, share it, enjoy it, bro.
Right.
We have
It
to
is.
segue this, and you can tell the story.
All right.
But it's
Hey, that's
perfect.
cool. We never got the Bruce, but go ahead.
I want to go to Bruce. We got to at some point talk about how we met Kenny in the Facebook situation?
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Because it's a tough look for me.
Yeah.
It's a bad look for me.
Oh God.
But we're
Kenny's
not
a
going to
troll.
forget it.
Come
It will
find out.
come
Come back
off that
right
story.
Anyway, those are my favorite memories. I've had like the best whiskey I've ever had. I've had a lot of good moments with Bruce and his dad and his grandpa. Dude, really cool family.
If
moments.
Wild Turkey 101 was on this table right now,
Yeah.
it would be the same. It would be an incredible time.
Yeah.
in the
It
same
wouldn't
manner,
matter. It
right?
wouldn't matter.
Which
Yeah.
is so. That's why it's so damn cool.
Yeah.
it is.
Your answer might be a wildly different one. He's like,
Yeah.
Ryan won there. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, he's not going to be in mine. Because he's right. We have so many memories of me and him, whether it's in college or
Tennis
in my
doubles.
parents'
Yeah.
house. Or Ryan's dad, before he passed, had started to get a little into whiskey and wanted to know things, and that was kind of cool. But probably my favorite memory, there's probably a couple. One was like a thing that happened a lot, and one was a one-time deal. But the first one, whenever I started, it was like 2000, after I'd give you that tour. in
Yeah, there you go. That's
2013.
right. Heck yeah.
Right around 2014, 15, I'd started to transition out of being a tour guide. I was going to be a brand ambassador. And my granddad was like, come on the road with me in Kentucky as I travel around, because he was still doing local stuff. And I'll kind of show you the ropes. And the very first time we went together, I remember driving up with him, riding on the way to Louisville. He doesn't listen to music. He's a weird guy. He doesn't like music. He listens to talk radio. And
We
listens
like silence.
to an hour. No, it's an hour of talk radio all the way to Louisville to go to Silver Dollar. And
yeah.
I'd never heard Jimmy do his like consumer spiel. I'd listen to him talk to bar owners and restaurant owners and Southern distributor people, things like that, company people. And we went up to that little top room at Silver Dollar. They had a little whiskey club there, and Jimmy talked to him for a couple hours, and he had people laughing and crying and telling stories, poking fun at people. And I'd never really seen that side of him completely. And it kind of blew my mind. And he's also not very talkative. So afterwards, we get done, and this is a very Jimmy thing. He's like, we're going to go eat dinner together. And Silver Dollar is a restaurant. Instead, we go to Cracker Barrel on the way out of Louisville. I think it might be on like Blake and Baker or something, one of those little roads there on the way out. And we stopped and we ate at Cracker Barrel, and we spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours just like shooting the shit with each other. And he was telling me like old stories and traveling and what I should expect and how to talk to people. And it was really eye-opening and really fucking cool, because I was like, oh, I'm seeing a part of Jimmy that he doesn't let. He wouldn't have let me see that if I was just his grandkid.
Yeah.
Dude,
It was
that's
because I
that's
had
awesome.
committed myself to get to the industry. And you talked about like traveling and seeing all the people, and you don't want to be a different person because it's tough. And that is one piece of advice that they gave me, is like, don't be a character if you can help it, because if you're a character, when you're in public, people will expect you to be that character. And Jimmy let me know pretty early on, the worst part of this job is that you will have to give a part of yourself to this that most people with normal jobs don't have to do. Like, you're going to have to give not just an 8 to 5 to this. You're part of your entire life to this. And it's been well worth that, because my job's awesome. But the other one is...
So amazing. So
I've never
it's-
heard that story either.
Yeah.
so amazing.
That's
dude.
amazing.
It's
So there's
just-
another one
gosh.
that really stands out to me, and this will mean less to you all because you don't know the people. Ryan does. But
Well, good
the
news
first-
is the first one was great.
Thank
so.
you. For the first
Do
4
well.
or 5 years of my career, really the first 4-ish, after we had kind of expanded in the company, like the company kind of knew what we were doing. They had hired brand people. I was with a very small group of people. A good buddy of mine who's like a brother. We call him Cousin Benny because he's essentially related to us. He's our national brand ambassador out on the West Coast.
Only Russell to ever be a brand, or
Only non-Russell
Yeah,
to ever be a
yeah,
brand
yeah,
ambassador in the
yeah.
United States.
We,
nice.
we got to meet
That
him.
guy's
He's
cool.
such a
We
very
got to
nice guy.
Benny-
Pick barrels with him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That guy's so cool.
And my first cousin Joanne, who's from Tennessee, moved to Kentucky, chose to get into this in a different way than I did. I've got
I
a lot
really
of love
like
for
how
her.
you called out Tennessee. He's like,
And
fucking Tennessee.
yeah, she does have faults.
the ugly orange.
But and then we had a manager at the time who had to kind of like babysit all our dumbasses, named Marie, who's a saint. And we would all kind of travel the circuit together and go to things like Tales of the Cocktail, Portland Cocktail Week, Bar Convent.
You had a good time.
We had a great time. And there would be a lot of nights like this where we'd be normally in a hotel room, but sitting in a hotel, sitting in an Airbnb, we would always have dope whiskey because we would do a lot of we'd call it the whiskey vault, and we'd pour stuff. So we'd have a bottle of Cheesy Gold, or we'd have a bottle of donut.
He's like, hey man, I just got this 98 Russell. It's okay. I stole it from my
We
dad.
definitely have drank bottles of that. 'Cause that's Joanne's favorite thing ever too. And we would just sit around, and at the end of one of our events, midnight to 4 in the morning, sitting in these rooms, talking shit to each other and telling stories. And it's the people you meet. They're my best friends in the world, right? They're people that will, if I get married one day, will probably be a part of my wedding, and I'll be friends with until I die. And a lot of my memories are around, like you said, the whiskey's so much better when you're sharing it with somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
I never. People think like me and Dad and Jimmy and people like that are drinking whiskey at home all the time. No.
You're like, I hate this.
Yeah. I actually don't even like it. No, I'm kidding. I'm drinking whiskey if I've got a buddy over, or like Dad drinks whiskey when he's on the golf course with his brother and his best friends.
100%.
Because it's just so much better
with people.
Whether it's on a barrel pick or on the golf course or at home or at a bar. I love just going to a bar, shooting the shit with somebody that's my buddy that's working behind the bar, and drinking. I'm not drinking this stuff at a bar. I'm drinking a neat pour, a one-on-one rye, and a cheap course banquet or something. And that shared experience makes that whiskey taste just as good as any of this stuff.
Hell yeah.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, really
I mean,
quick,
that's it.
And I've listened to you on a lot of podcasts, and you've been so great. And so it's just a shout out to you, but you've been so great being open.
I'm talking to Bruce, if you're wondering.
Yeah, I am talking to Bruce. I'm sorry, I should have said that. But obviously,
He's just
Bruce
pointing
is the
in the
industry
air right
guy
now.
here. My bad.
It's
I
a
am
podcast right now, and he's
I'm
just pointing.
But a lot of Legacy isn't non-transparent because Legacy doesn't need the transparency because they're making their own stuff. But when you started to do podcasts like 2, 3, 4 years ago, whatever it was, probably longer than that, but it seemed like that. It was so cool because it was like a younger voice, less stuffy, and more transparent, honest, and willing to be like, hey, dude, some of this stuff's not great shit.
Yeah.
And it was such an awesome thing. And you've done that really well. And I think, to me, you brought something to Wild Turkey, which was
Rye.
I felt like it was needed.
Rye.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Rye. Rye whiskey.
Like a
rye.
public personality, public-facing personality.
hear what
You've
you
done an
said.
incredible job with that. It's
I
been
appreciate
amazing.
that. I appreciate that.
No, he's right though.
I've enjoyed it. I have.
Just seeing a forefront of a legacy distillery.
Yeah.
That
A huge
just
brand.
like having a younger voice.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
It's
I
been
can
very
relate to that a
different.
lot.
It is passed. It's generation to generation. But we
the
don't
same way
hear
that we talk
Freddie
about the
talk.
people that like us and follow us and enjoy our community. We do the same with you. And we're like, oh, dude, that's super nice to see someone around our age.
A fresh
just really-
take.
Yeah.
A new take.
Having
And
a
it's fun,
different view
The world
on
changes.
something that is
We change. And it's
forever and
it's
a half
cool.
old. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Do you remember the story?
Uh-oh. Here
Which
we
one?
go.
Which
you
one?
remember the Facebook
The
story.
Facebook?
Oh.
Oh, yeah, dude. You about banned me.
Have I ever heard the story? I don't know if I've heard it.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'm up for it here.
I remember
So-
getting
Listen, I almost rocked.
So, no
I almost
offense.
rocked Kenny's
I
shit.
remember
Hang on.
getting
No
a-
offense. But Bourbon Junkies Facebook is a cesspool because there's
Whoa,
like
dude.
Whoa,
there's
whoa,
like
whoa, whoa, whoa,
hang
whoa.
on.
Our
Hang
community's
on.
the best.
There's like
Okay.
40,000
Not the
people
Facebook
in there.
group.
There's 40,000 people in there.
Are you modding any of that? Is
We
just
have
like
a group of mods, yeah.
They're very busy.
I
They're very
will
busy people.
forever remember this
Hey,
conversation.
okay, here
with
we
was
go.
fun.
Dan.
The mods are good. Listen, the mods are pretty great, but the problem is like there are just some points in time
Yeah.
where that's too many people.
Oh, yeah.
You know what
I
I mean?
know.
I'd rather have
I
a group of
remember
12,000
Dan.
awesome people.
I know. I've watched it a lot. I've watched it go off the
40,000
rails a
people in
lot.
40,000 people in there.
The conversation that we had
Yeah.
out of this, Dan was so spicy.
Uh-oh. Spicy.
He goes, hey, about to rock this fucking guy's life.
Oh.
Didn't know Kenny.
Yeah.
Didn't know me at all.
Love
So-
Kenny, by the way.
Okay. So now we can backpedal. Go ahead, Kenny.
Kenny is someone I'll hug every time I see him.
Dude,
You know
trust
what I mean?
me.
Kenny is good people.
You don't know
He's our people.
how many times he's messed with me, so I can't wait to hear
Hey,
this.
thank God Kenny is a forgiving man. Come to
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
There you
ahead,
go.
buddy.
Nah, just like somebody posted something about, and they had like a really bad typo. So I like joked about their typo. Like I did like the little asterisk with like, because they had like misspelled
Your versus yours.
your, yeah. Like you,
Oh, one of those guys. Really
And-
good. Oh, go great, buddy.
Dan,
that was the first
Dan
comment.
jumped my crap, dude.
Buddy, that was the
Dan
first
jumped on
comment.
me all over it, and he was like, "This is the most you have to offer. Then freaking get out of
That's
here."
actually what I said.
Oh,
Yeah.
If this is the best you have to offer, get out of this group.
there you go.
Had no idea who Kenny was.
Yeah.
Well, I know what's incredible is somebody was genuinely asking, "Hey, like if I like this, what should I buy in your whatever?"
Come
And
to find out, Kenny was super helpful.
No, that's not how it
Not
started.
at first. Not at first. I wasn't. I was
Yeah.
a troll. I was a troll.
Now when you learn,
But I love troll. I love trolling. People.
What a
When you-
surprise!
I love
Yeah.
trolling.
Come on.
when you know Kenny, you understand that like the first remark's gonna be fun, not
I love
helpful,
trolling.
not
It's just
helpful.
fun.
The
Right.
second remark will actually be very helpful.
Yeah,
right?
you caught Dan on an off day.
I love you. I got your back, but I
Unfortunate.
love trolling also.
I don't do. At this
I
point,
remember him messaging me. He goes, "Do you know this guy? I'm gonna fucking ban the shit out of him. I do not have any time for this shit right now."
Listen, I don't
he
often.
showed me the comment. I was like,
So, anyways, this guy says this, and Kenny responds with an English lesson rather than like an answer of, "Hey man, if you like this, this would be a good bottle for you to
Right.
spend $50 on."
Right.
third comment though.
I responded and go, "Hey man," and Kenny literally laid it out perfect. But I responded, "Hey man, if what you got to offer is English lessons, like you can get the hell out of the group."
Yep.
Right. Probably said the F word. So, anyways, so
Probably.
we move on to Kenny typed 2 paragraphs helping this guy out. Right after that, never read it. Right.
Yeah.
Kenny then responds to me and goes, "You would know what
You
I
would
have,
know
to,
what I have
offer.
to offer if you freaking Sean wasn't so freaking drunk that night.
That."
Yes.
So
Nice.
now we had
My
never
bad.
met Kenny at this time. Now Ryan, we came to Kentucky, and Ryan goes, "Hey, after this thing, we're gonna go to my buddy Kenny's house. You
And
guys
have
are
some
gonna love it.
pours."
We're gonna have a great time. It's
Yeah.
gonna be great."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Kenny's house is dope.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
maybe like the Narnia closet of whiskey,
So come
right?
to find out, I gave myself like a 1960s roofie.
Legitimately good bad.
I did a lot,
Sean Cosby himself.
a lot of drinking and alcohol.
Yeah.
So
This story is very apropos too because we did a wilderness trail pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we picked one of each SKU.
Yep.
yeah.
And we tried 6 of each SKU.
Yep.
We tried 18 barrels.
Oh
Shout
my
out to
God.
Macaulay.
This was during the Macaulay days.
Macaulay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Macaulay. Yep. Shout out to
We threw him
Macaulay.
on drugs. It was-
Yeah, Macaulay. I love Macaulay.
My boy Macaulay.
Love Macaulay.
Yeah, me too.
Then
He's
we went
the
to the
man.
gift shop after. We tried a couple of things that he was like working on. I think it was when he was doing his maple finish. Or
We also tried the Wilderness 8-year that day.
we tried the wilderness.
Oh yeah, that was the
Then-
send off.
He was like, "Hey, we should go get some dinner." We went to dinner. Dan and I, like adults, I think we got a triple cheeseburger.
Yep.
There's a picture of me trying to eat this cheeseburger.
Adults.
It's like legitimately
Big old
taller
gap.
than a Big Mac.
Guys, you don't understand. Nobody knows this. Ryan, when he gets a food like that, will stand up.
Stood up.
He stands up to eat, and he stands up and he'll tuck his beard, and then he'll take the
yeah.
bite.
I've seen it.
It's wild. I'm sure you have. It's wild.
It's
So-
per bite.
We'd obviously had a great day.
Yeah.
Sean at the restaurant, I think, got sliders.
Yeah.
Didn't eat any of it. Maybe one slider.
I had like a bite of each.
He got a kid's meal and
Kids
ate
meal.
a third of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
So we
see
get-
myself
we,
out.
We get in the car. We drive back to Lexington from Danvers.
He disappeared. He jumps out of the freaking vehicle. He's gone.
What we didn't
Oh
know
no,
was
we were there. We
in
were
the
there.
back of my vehicle, which
Yeah.
you know it happens from time to time.
My
I
2
have-
feet were
I have
attached,
truck
so
whiskey.
I'm out.
It was a Wild Turkey, like 86.8
Yep.
little flask
Yep.
from the 80s.
Oh my god.
He
Enjoyed
They drank all of
The
it.
black and tan label.
I didn't say
Yeah.
all of it.
They drank all of it.
I didn't say all of it.
We got back to the
You
shop.
definitely had more of that than the kids' meal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
True.
Yeah, it was-
Without a doubt.
It's a real problem.
Also had several drinks at dinner. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We get back to the shop. You guys wanted to buy some whiskey.
And was
we were-
buying Sean a
we were-
birthday
we were-
bottle.
yeah.
Go ahead. Yep.
And we come out of the shop.
Well, hey, stop painting me as a goddamn villain here.
No, these are all facts.
I didn't know if you take a lot of Dramamine and drink a lot of alcohol, it will kill you.
Oh my
We
god.
come out. Sean is gone. We can't
Disappeared.
find him.
Buddy,
Done.
Boom.
I
Out.
blacked out for I
Calling
think like
the freaking
4 hours.
the Lexington
Is he
police.
actually gone, or is he
Yeah,
like
gone.
David Jennings in?
No, he's
Zach
gone.
Rand gone.
He's not-
Physically
Okay.
gone.
Not there.
I'm calling friends of mine on the police force. I'm like, we got to find this dude.
Yeah.
We looked for over an hour.
Yeah.
Yes.
I walked.
We were driving around,
Yeah.
call buddies.
Ron's calling his old Rat
Yeah.
Connects.
No,
Yeah.
I
Sloan
have friends
comes
on the
in,
police force.
Somebody gets on a bird
looking
scooter.
for
Michael
him.
Klein gets on a bird scooter. We're going around.
Yes.
Can't find
Dude,
Sean.
lights are on. No one's home.
It gets to the point where we've been looking for him for a while.
Yeah.
It's dark. We don't know where he's at. We're all not even mad anymore. We're genuinely worried.
Yeah.
We assume that he might
Yeah.
actually
Y'all were
be
Justin's
dead.
in Lexington?
Oh,
We were in Lexington.
Yeah.
my phone was dead.
We assume he's in a
we
dump
throw
Called
that
him,
in
his
there.
phone's dead.
My phone's gone.
It gets to a
Thankfully,
point to where-
one guy.
Not
was-
an area you want to get lost in.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no,
Stay
no.
on
The,
town.
the
Yeah.
one guy, there's a bartender, saved my fucking life because I just like showed up at some sushi place and was like, "Hey, you want to charge my phone?" And they're like, "No." I go, "If I order food, will you charge my phone?" And they're like, "I guess." Throw everything in. They found me, dude. I was what 2.5 miles away.
Yeah. Yeah, he had walked
2.5
he had
miles.
got out of the car, whatever reason, walked all the way back down to Short Street to School Sushi. So it got to the point where I was like, all right, we are at the point where we need to alert his wife.
Yeah.
Who's in Michigan?
No.
Who's
Yeah.
in Michigan? Like we're at that point. We've looked. We
Yeah.
can't find him.
We've lost
We've looked
your
a lot.
husband.
And
We've looked a lot.
And I said, all right, we'll call him one more time, and then if and then we're calling Gabby.
I was
we don't have another option. We need to
completely
do something.
blacked out. I had a panic attack when we got back to Michigan, and Dan
In a
goes,
bathroom.
Hey, by the way, this is a thing that happens if you have a lot of Dramamine and alcohol. I go, I get motion sick. I had so much Dramamine that day. Drank a shit ton of
Oh, that's why
alcohol.
you,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
That's where it comes in.
I was complete gone.
So you
I
talking
don't-
about he was at school like up on Richmond Road?
No. He was on Short Street.
Oh, on Short Street. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
buddy, I
okay.
have receipts from a bar
Okay, I
that
gotcha.
I was
But
in.
the Dramamine-
everyone was okay with.
Oh,
The
I was
dr-
thinking of
That's
never
why I
mind,
picked
good.
Barrel 7 today.
So, like, you know, like all jokes aside, like obviously that was a wild night. All jokes aside, like legitimately, I mean, obviously,
I was worried, yeah,
Sean and I
where'd he
have
go?
Sean and I have traveled a lot together. The next day, we're flying home, and Sean texts me in an airport and goes, "I'm in a bathroom stall, and I can't leave, and I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "That's not a text. I've known the guy for
Yeah.
30 years. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's not a text I've ever received from him ever. You know."
I was legitimately having a panic attack.
And so I'm like, where are you at? And I'll just come get you. Whatever
I
it is,
was-
right? We'll figure it out.
I-
He's in a bathroom stall, like, I mean,
was
fucking
trying.
legit panic attack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was one of those things where I was like, this is a really, really abnormal circumstance. I found out like a year later, probably
yeah,
8 months later.
you sent me an article.
I learned. I was listening. So I listened to this wild ass podcast. That's a CSI guy who found the Golden State Killer. He's the guy who found the Golden State Killer.
Oh, nice.
She was a
Dynamite drop in.
nice.
dude, crime. Yeah, I know. My wife
Sign
got
me
me
up.
into this true crime nonsense. And then the woman who's on the podcast, she's a crime journalist or whatever. Well, he goes through these old crimes from like the 1800s and 1900s and explains how they would deal with them today and how they'd find the person. He on the podcast said back in the 70s, if you took Dramamine and then went to a bar, people would go to a bar and drop Dramamine in people's alcohol because it would roofie them.
Oh my God.
And then they would take them back to the, whatever.
wow.
Come to
so
find out, I
I
did it
text
to
Sean
myself.
that day and I go,
That's what happened to
that
you.
was one of the trips. Because Sean doesn't take Dramamine on every trip. And
Yeah.
I go, that was one of the trips. Did you take Dramamine on the trip? He goes, yeah. And I go, and we
That's
also
what
drank
happened.
a lot of alcohol.
That's what happened.
And come to find out, if you Google it, panic attacks are the aftermath of that mixture of things.
You know
yikes.
what? I would
Wow.
not recommend.
That's
0 out of
intense.
10. Would not do again.
Weirdly, I do it on every trip and haven't done that yet, but who knows?
The best part is that
There you go.
You should really try it. It's,
I'm good, dude.
So,
Oh,
as
it's
I
so
almost
much
got
panic.
banned from the Facebook Bourbon Junkies Facebook
Yes.
group.
Now, this being
Do
said,
not
I had...
get lost in Alton.
yeah,
Do not walk
That's
around.
not the place.
Yeah.
That's not it. That's
No,
not
that's not it.
But thankfully, I do remember.
There won't be a sushi restaurant.
Yeah, I do remember talking to the guy. And I'm like, hey, can I charge my phone? He goes, no. I go, if I buy sushi, can I charge my phone? He's like, yeah. I'm like, cool, man. That guy saved my fucking
I
life.
almost strangled
because
Sean
I
that
called
night.
him before we called the wife
Yeah.
In someone else.
before we actually call the police and say like, look, this is a serious
This guy's
situation.
gone.
We have a missing person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, call him one more time. Called him, and the joy
Hello?
in
Like
his
that.
voice. Hey, buddy. Hey.
I had no
I
idea.
could not have been at that moment more upset because he was just like, "Hey, buddy, what's up?" Like it was completely normal situation.
He
Gone.
didn't do anything wrong
He
with his
didn't
mom.
know.
Gone.
He didn't know
Klein
at all.
and I show up to that sushi restaurant to
Yeah.
pick him up. I roll down the window, and he walks out. He goes, "Hey, man!" And I look at Klein. I go, "You gotta get him now. I'm gonna murder him."
Yeah.
We're driving down the road. He's trying to get out of the car, driving down the road, and I'm like, "I swear to God, if you get out of the car, I'm gonna strangle you and put you in the back." Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that was gone.
It was
I had no
wild.
idea.
That was why we never made it to Kenny's.
That was
Yeah. And
so
that-
needless to say,
yeah.
it didn't ban Kenny, obviously. And then the best part is Kenny says, if you would have come over, you would know what I had to offer. And I'm like, who's this guy? What a weird response.
Yeah, that
to
is
me.
a weird
Come to find
comment.
out. Right.
And then Alves texts me and goes, "Hey, that's where we were supposed to go, man." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's not my bad, but that's my bad." You know what I
There
mean?
we go.
The moral story is
We've been to Kenny since,
Yes, it
so
was really
thank
good
you
times.
for
It's a good
obviously
time.
Good times.
not hating me for the Facebook.
do
side.
not
y'all
take
are-
a lot of drinking and a lot of alcohol because it will end badly.
Well, I'm
No,
glad,
it's just-
yeah, I'm glad y'all told that story because I remember calling you the next day and I was like, "Hey man, how'd the hang go with Bourbon Junkies?" And he's
I'm
like,
like, it didn't happen.
"It didn't happen." I'm like, "What?"
Those
He's
guys
like,
are assholes.
"Long story, man." And I'm like, "Oh
like,
man,
yeah.
okay." He's
They
like,
all almost
he
lost one
basically
of
just
them.
said that
Just
you got
went
lost, and I was
somewhere.
like, "That's
Sean got lost.
massively
My
crazy,
bad.
man."
My bad, my bad, my bad.
Yeah,
It's just there's even like right now, like it's so crazy. I'm new into bourbon. I'm a newbie. I'm a real newbie. I just don't deserve it. I don't deserve to be at this table. It's so awesome. I love the stories. I love you guys. It's just so freaking fun, dude. I love it. I love it. Love it. It's so fun.
No, I think you say I don't belong here at this
I don't
table.
belong at this table.
That's
I don't.
cool.
It's
No,
just
I heard
saying,
right. I
it is
neither.
awesome.
well, if he doesn't belong
I
to this
went
table,
Who
Alves.
the fuck does?
Alves.
yeah.
No,
You and Bruce.
Alves, screw Alves. Like literally screw him.
Oh, jeez.
He
Man,
said,
he's cute.
so the first time I was going to drink a Dusty. I was going to drink a Dusty at J-Hob. And he's like, don't do it. So he did warn me, though. He warned me. He's like, don't drink this Dusty. It's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down.
He goes, "Hey, I know your personality."
I drank this Dusty, and holy freaking crap. There we go.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane.
Now, if you ever go to Ken, if you ever get the opportunity, if
Dude.
Kenny ever shares some stuff with you, it's
Just come over, man.
Yeah.
We will
absolutely
share it.
It's pretty fun.
We will share it.
It's a good
It's
time.
just,
One of my favorite videos is Kenny making Bruce open a Booker's Rye.
yeah.
On my phone. He's like, "This is insane."
I love it, dude.
I was so excited.
What is this night? Like, you know.
Wait, he goes, "Go in that closet." He's like, "Let you open a Booker's Rye," and I'm so excited. I walk back there. So, like a reasonable person would think, I think there's going to be a bottle of Booker's Rye. So I'm like looking up, like, I don't see it, and he's like, "No, the cases of it on the floor. Just open one of those up and take a bottle."
That's a bottom shelf, dog. You know what I'm saying?
That feels like the most Kenny
And
thing.
I
I've
looked at
ever
Ryan, and another one of mine, Ryan's like best friend growing up, Jordan, was there with us. And I'm
Oh.
like, who the fuck is this guy?
Dude, hey, real talk.
Jordan's also
Jordan
one of the real
might
ones,
be
dude.
one of my favorite people.
I love
ever.
He is
Jordan.
the funniest
Jordan.
human
Yes,
being in
he
the
He's
world.
funny.
Yeah.
Absolutely best.
Jordan's the best.
That I
That's been
I
like,
love that man.
because he's not, I wouldn't say relatively new, but relatively new into like drinking seriously, drinking bourbon seriously. Like we've been at Wild Turkey before, and like him not like don't like it out of the barrel, or
Sure.
like, hey, like do we have Pepsi or Coke? Like, and so seeing him, his journey, sort of almost on a little bit of a similar timeline to Kenny's, has just been really fun. It's somebody that like we were always have been friends with, but someone that like I talk to him every day. And
I love that.
There was a point in our friendship where we didn't talk every day.
Sure.
And now that we have this like shared thing that we're always texting about, or he's asking me about this release, or him coming to the shop and hanging out after he clocks out from work. And
Jordan
just
is
trying
one
a
of
bunch
the
stuff.
best guys ever.
Coming on the barrel picks, you guys have been nice enough.
We were
Let him come
very
on barrel
fortunate
picks
to meet
and
him at.
if we got spots, Jordan's always
one of our
The
first
Stag.
ever barrel picks
Duck
that we
House.
did at Starlight was with Jordan, And he showed up, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
He is funny, bro.
We had never met you. We never met Jordan. You guys were you showed up. We're like, "Cool, this is cool." Cracked us up the whole fucking day, and we're like, "Dude, if that guy can be at every barrel pick, this would be great." And then we're like, "Oh, Jordan." Saw the earth.
You should come down to our best of blinds each year. It's very fun.
We should do that, dude.
Well,
That's a nice
when you-
invite.
It's a
I'd
very
love to
fun
come.
time.
to
When you
that.
mention
should
best of
invite
blinds,
Sean.
as long as I'm next to Jordan all the time, because I don't know what he said. He probably has a different story, but like he and I get wild over there.
It's funny.
I have a video from this year where you guys
It's
were
so
disputing
good.
the scoring or something, and Jordan had. I put the phone on. I just started taking video of everybody, and it ends with me on the phone on Jordan, and he's just acting a fool and stuff. And it's one of the greatest videos of all time. But like,
I love that
I have a
man.
great time with him, man. He's amazing. Yeah.
Dude, but that's it. Like this whole podcast has been about like memories, people.
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
It's just fun, man.
So
That's
wait,
the thing, man.
you know Jordan too, then, right?
I've known Jordan since elementary school. Yeah,
God damn, man.
Jordan's another one of my really good friends. Me and Jordan used to. They can't get us now. We used to skip school in high school and go to his house and play Mario baseball or King Griffey Jr. baseball. I love both those games. We just chill at his house.
GameCube, Mario.
Yeah,
Kart.
we've got a lot of. So Jordan, Ryan, and another buddy of ours, Danny. They all lived in the same neighborhood, actually right by the
You
distillery.
play tennis to you guys? I'm just wondering.
Called Star Hill Estates. Shouts out Star Hill. I spent probably my last 4 or 5 summers in school just at Star Hill every day at one of their houses hanging out, and we were just being idiots having fun.
Damn.
And, yeah, Jordan's one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
And Jordan has this
Easy.
infectious happiness. He's the funniest person I've ever been around in my
Yes.
life. Like, he's the friend that like my parents always loved being around because he's so funny. My
Yep.
girlfriend adores him.
Yep.
She's just like, I want Jordan everywhere. Because
Yeah.
anywhere
He is,
he's at,
man.
you have a smile on your face because
Yeah.
of
Dude.
Jordan.
Jordan's a vibe guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's-
is.
He is.
He's a personality.
The
hire.
best
Yeah.
vibe, too.
Yep.
Shout out
great.
Bait Security.
Yeah.
Big Jordan at Bait Security. That's what I'm talking about.
Sell some more.
Cameras
Fuck.
installed.
So about a month
So,
ago,
yeah.
I went to Michigan and with Alves, and I got drunk at this place called EverNorth.
Sure. We'll
Can
do
you
that.
tell me about? Can you tell me about EverNorth?
Yes, sir. I can.
Please.
Sean and I obviously had the YouTube channel. We talked about that earlier. We still obviously,
I hate this.
but what?
What?
You hate what?
What?
Kenny.
Why?
Has he got
He's having
something on
so
you
much
again?
fun making us
They're both-
plug our
they're both
shit.
drunk.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. No,
All
we're
right,
having a
so
good time. We're having a
I-
good
Come to
time.
find out, your job to talk about the brand, buddy.
But here's a Booker's Rye. Go ahead.
There you go.
All right, next
That'll
time
make
I'm
go
on.
for it. No, so the because the YouTube channel started, and Lord knows how long YouTube lasts or what
Give or take.
goes and doesn't. It's not
Yeah.
our platform. We don't make the rules and whatever. But I don't know that YouTube's for everything. Could be, might not be though, right? And so if it's not, like, what else do we do, right? And so
Until then, bourbonjunk@gmail.com.
that's our email address.
You email everyone and say, hey, I don't like this.
Or visit
Attention,
AnthonyLoveTotalWine.com.
Dan.
Yes, go to that website. It's great.
Attention, Dan.
I don't know what we're gonna get from that, but I'm gonna probably delete all of them. So, anyways, so basically, what happened was we discussed it a little bit earlier, but like non-transparency, cash grab brands, and high price tags, and very non-consumer based things are happening. Sean and I on the media side of whatever of. Hey man, we reviewed another bottle that we bought that we didn't like, that was expensive. We didn't know where it came from. We do now because we drank it and it's clearly this thing or whatever. Why don't we just do our own thing? Like, is it possible for a brand to make it without charging $150 while sourcing bottles? At the time, the thought process was contracting everything. Contract bottle, contract warehouse agreements, contract distillation if we need it, if we're not sourcing. And then, fast forward a little ways, but we get into this with, the front of the brand and the front of the mindset being transparency and everybody knowing what they're drinking. Like, you pick up a bottle and on the back or the side of it, you know what distillery distilled it. You know how old it is. Probably know the mash bill. If you ask, we'll tell you if it's not on there for some reason. But it becomes one of these things where it's like, Sean and I are consumers. That we got into this as consumers. We started a YouTube channel because we were lifting weights, talking shit. That was why and how.
We could have done better.
And so we get into it for this very reason. We're still those people 5-6 years later.
Yeah.
We're just in a different position now. We know more now, and we have more bottles of whiskey, and we have a better idea as to what when people I can tell you today, Sean can too. If we buy a bottle and review it, and it's from certain brands, we can tell you what the comment section will tell you when we post a video. People, brands, big brands, pay for that feedback. That's a paid thing. That's like we get to do that and get paid for it, right? Other brands would pay for that control group or whoever that was.
Yeah.
So it's like we have a ton of feedback. We think we know what people like. We know what we like. And we why don't we try this and see what happens? We try this, again, transparency and consumer pricing at the forefront of the whole thing. So we started EverNorth. We started Virtue Spirits, realistically. We used to run into some trademark issues right away.
Well, thanks, Anheuser-Busch.
Well, not their fault, but they do own it. So anyways, so we run into trademark issues. We pivot to EverNorth Spirits Company. And now we have a single barrel line for American rye and bourbon. We have our almond line for blended straight bourbons, blended rye, barrel finishing series, and we'll have
And
an
the
American next year.
MLCC can go fuck them. I mean,
So anyways, I just completely non-useful statements so far. Good job.
I was just talking to the mic.
Like the whole point was just like let's goodness.
You've
I'm
killed
plugging XLR, dude.
Ryan is
No,
dead.
I think something happened with my mic. I was just
Ryan
talking-
is dead.
But truthfully, like the whole point of it was like bottle shit. We like contract distill out of Sagamore. Larry, who's the godfather of rye, set Sagamore up. We contract distill there. We love that place. We love that brand. We source barrels from a lot of different places, a lot of different brokers, and the point of
Just do cool
EverNorth will be to continue to be transparent. The barrel market's crashing, right? It's just real life that it is very real that the barrel
I'd
market's
love to
crashing.
see it.
The barrel market crashing, it just means our profit margins get better at $60 to $70 to $80 a bottle instead
No,
of
it
$200.
means that we can take the same whiskey and put it at 60.
Yep,
There you go.
that's what I said.
My bad. I might have said it.
So needless to say,
We have talked on this podcast before about once you get to the craft distillers,
Right.
who you're going to support is also who you like.
brand loyalty.
And it's
Is
so
the
you
thing.
you have the old, you've got the Heaven Hills, the Turkeys, the Buffalo Traces, but the legacy brands. But once you get to the craft distillers, when you buy a bottle, it's about more who you like.
Yeah.
And like, I love you guys. And,
Right.
I love Amin at Old Louisville and like different, whoever your relationship is with.
But we can't do what they can do. We can't do what Jack can do. We can't do what Buffalo Trace and those can do. NDPs are a separate industry, truthfully, even though it's all whiskey. But NDPs are separate from legacy.
The Toasted Marshmallow Bomb I had up there 3 weeks ago.
But but the cool thing about it is some of the bigger brands started as NDPs, whether they want to admit it or not. Some, not all, but some did. We went to one yesterday.
Wild Turkey started as a NDP.
Really?
It started as a contract
actually didn't
label
know
that we made for a grocery company.
Holy shit. Well,
Wow.
Michter's did too, and whether they admit it or
Will
not.
it?
So,
I thought
will it? Like rare characters, and like there's a lot of NDPs out here that have respect behind the brand, and I think that people get really twisted up with you guys are buying other people's whiskey. 100%, that's accurate. We'll be transparent and tell you where it's from. I'll tell you the guy's name who distilled it most of the time. You know what I mean? Because that's, as consumers, that's what Sean and I want. And I think that that's more important than most of the shit on the market right now from NDPs, from cash grabby brands is,
Wait, how do you feel about this?
don't tell them.
How do I feel about it?
Yeah. Actually, I this is fun for us because this is how we feel.
Yeah.
This is the only insider we would get out of it.
So I have a lot of respect for people that produce their own whiskey from start to finish. A lot of respect. The thing I'll say is when you're starting out new and making your own whiskey's the opposite of something like beer, where you can't make it in 3 days and see if it's good. Mm-hmm. It's going to take you 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Probably Jimmy has always told me if you start a new distillery, you're not going to figure out what you got until 12 to 20 years down the road.
Sure.
Because it's going to take multiple trials of your 4
Yeah.
to 6 to 8-year-old whiskey. And so, to me, I have a lot of respect for the people that do that. We live in a world where there's really good whiskey for sale that other people make that have already done that.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good way to look at it.
And so, I love some of my friends. Y'all mentioned Star Hill already on here. Starlights, excuse me. Mm-hmm. Star Hill Shorty is what I was thinking of. Y'all mentioned going up to Starlight and picking with
Star Hill Shorty
Jordan
is fire.
and Ryan and them. And I love the folks at Starlight. They do a lot
Right
of
people.
dope stuff.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like, hey, check that place out. They're awesome. I love
Yeah.
them. And you were talking about some of the people you really like in the craft scene, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. Because now people like poo-poo on the craft,
Yeah.
that kind of term. But I have faith that, like, if I trust the people, that an NDP, somebody that's buying whiskey, the whiskey's going to be pretty good on average compared to somebody that's just starting a distillery.
Sure.
Because you're going to be buying whiskey from
Someone that's got
Bardstown,
Yeah.
or MGP, or Heaven Hill, and guess what? All those places have figured it out
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
And we don't live in the same world that we did when I started in the 2010s and before. If you bought contract whiskey, guess what you were buying? Whatever I told you I had.
good luck.
Right? But we live in a world now where you can buy, I don't know what you would call it, designer whiskey. You can get what you want
Ooh,
in a
I
way
like
that you
that.
couldn't before.
Yeah.
And that, I think, has really changed the game on NDPs. It's not just, like you said, hey, there's 10 bottles. Some of them are $200, some of them are $60. It's all 4-year-old MGP or
Right.
whatever. Now it's a world where, like, oh, this brand has this really unique stuff they had made especially for them at Bardstown. They put it into this secondary maturation.
Sure.
They're doing this weird thing. And so the NDP world's not the same as it used to be. It's,
Sure.
No,
it's a really
not at
cool
all.
space. It's a really exciting space.
Yeah.
Got to try your all stuff today, which I thought was awesome. I have had a few of those rare character bottles I really like. The Pride of Anderson thing came from us was awesome. You know, the NDP world's really cool right
Getting
now.
fun.
It's really cool right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about EverNorth is, and Dan, I'll just ask the question: how many mash bills do you guys have in
11.
in the warehouse?
It's more now. Probably
Right.
13.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
guys
cool.
do you guys have whiskey here right now over here?
There's
Yeah.
a couple bottles.
Okay, I'm
there.
gonna go take my headphones off and head over
Yeah,
there.
there are, I think, 3 bottles.
If when you go there, and whether you're doing a single barrel pick or you're picking up one of the gift shop bottles or whatever, like there's going to be something for everyone. You guys have found a way to find different things from around the country
Yeah.
that necessarily other NDPs for the past 5 years
Yeah.
are not using, that are different than everything
Well,
everybody's had.
Yeah.
Finding a way to do something with it that is good.
I think the thing that's missing, one of the most important part of the NDP side of things is finding interesting mash bills or whiskey or barrels or whatever. That TKO barrel from Rare Character you have is not a thing most people have ever tried.
Yeah, hey.
It's incredible.
I'd
You know
love
what
to
I mean?
blind you that.
Apparently, way better than Triumph's. What I heard earlier.
Oh,
You had
I don't know about that. you know.
Here we go.
Boom, baby.
You had some people in the blind. They don't know what they're doing.
That's fun. It's so fun to blind to people.
Truthfully, like one of my favorite things that I do at EverNorth is literally look for barrels. That the R&D barrels, the barrel that you have, that barrel right there was an R&D project from 2015, right? A lot of our rye that have done really, really well, those are all 52% rye distilled by Sagamore 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But some of those rye are like these huge, like
Man, 52% rise. They're really good.
they're 43 corn and they're high corn, low rye
That's what
might
I
be the
heard.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, get in.
It's weird how Kentucky kind of figured that out. But anyways, so what's so interesting is I think if you don't have, listen, we have our
Variety.
we laid down 143 barrels this year.
Give or take.
And so, nope, it's exactly that. So we laid down 143 barrels this year at Sagamore of 3 mash bills that we contract still, right? On top of we'll continue to do that, but we'll also continue to source because from an NDP standpoint, the sourcing gives us interesting products.
Yeah.
And gives us different mash bills. Having 13 mash bills or whatever it is in that barrel house at the same time, like you said, it gives us, we have blending lines. It gives us the opportunity to blend things that we find interesting. It gives us the opportunity that you come up for a barrel pick. You like that. We have like 12 more of those barrels, and it is weird. That's a different
Yeah.
mash bill. Sagamore distills a shit ton of that 52% rye. They don't ever put it out as a 52 rye barrel proof ever. Not once
Yeah,
have they done that.
they blend it.
They blend it with 95.5. So we're using that mash bill and we're putting it out under our label and it says distilled in Maryland. If anybody asks at Sagamore, we have no NDAs. We're very open about the people that make the whiskey that we put in a bottle, but it just becomes one of those things where it's like, dude, it's not an ego thing. We don't need all the credit. We do finishing, we do different double barreling and maturation, whatever. Sometimes that one right there was like the barrel came in, it's fucking good, man. was throwing a bottle. You know what I mean? And put Maryland on the back, and people at Sagamore made it 15 or
So
9 years ago.
the very first one of y'all's I had was the
Good.
literally motor oil
rye
rye
one.
that
Yeah,
Alves shared with
one.
me.
Rye
It was
one is-
amazing.
That's a little different, but
So with you guys being quote unquote craft, even though you have different
We're craft.
But
NDP.
all right, so some of those are like you'll just grab some barrels and bottles that are like, holy crap, this is the one off that's amazing.
Sure.
But I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Bruce. You got one mash bill, one yeast strain that is just makes some of the most freaking of all time in the history, some of the best bourbons. One mash bill, one yeast strain. Most distilleries don't do that. They have multiple mash bills, they have multiple yeast strains, not wild turkey, bro.
To be fair, they do have 143 barrels laid down this year, and I don't know how many they got total. We have 850,000 barrels aged.
Yeah.
No.
But it's
So-
one mash bill,
It's a
one
little
yeast
easier
strain,
to
bro.
find different flavor
I'm just
profiles
saying.
when you've got,
I'm just saying, it's
Come to find out
one
trees are
mash
different.
bill,
Yeah.
one yeast
You know,
strain.
but
boom, bro.
I think we can like ribbon this up very nicely. Is that we're here being able to do this is because American whiskey is at an all-time high.
Dude,
There's
so
more
good.
interest than ever.
Yeah.
There's more opportunity than ever. There's a space where someone who is a third generation is able to do what he's able to do and continue his family's legacy,
Yep,
but also put his own mark on that space.
yep.
And then on the flip side, two guys completely separate, don't know each other, completely different parts of the world, are able to do their own thing that is equally interesting, equally important to the space. We don't have that opportunity if American whiskey isn't the place that it's at, right? You know, tomorrow it will be even more popular than it is today.
Yes.
And so I think people like yourselves, who I believe are doing it the correct way, and I might have most of your things, and they're not all for me.
Sure.
But there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
What?
And on the flip side, I can go to the grocery store and buy Bruce's family product for every day.
Yeah, 100%.
And that to me is like the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much
You
opportunity.
mean your best friend that just owns a distillery? Yeah.
Well, it's a.
You
it
go to
is-
the grocery store, buy-
It's definitely a. What is it? The rising tide raises
Yeah,
all ships
100%.
situation. Because
Yes, sir.
hopefully we're making whiskey. It all works together. Hopefully we're making whiskey that gets people into the category, that gets them listening to podcasts like this, gets them watching Bourbon Junkies, gets them nerdy, gets them joining these communities. Then they elevate their bourbon game. Then they get into our higher marks. They get into their stuff. It all works together.
Yeah,
Did you
the-
pay him for
yeah.
that?
The exploration aspect of it.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
huge.
Right.
The check kept clearing on that? We're good?
Oh, we paid Bruce.
All right, yeah.
Can't afford Bruce's.
I'm just
savings.
wondering. All right, cool.
It's
man.
just like a really cool
It is
time,
cool.
and
It
I'm
is.
lucky to see it from both sides. I'm a consumer. I buy a lot of whiskey. I sell a lot of whiskey. I'm touching more whiskey than most people on a daily basis,
And you grew up around it.
and I
Yeah.
grew up around. I have this very real
Backyard.
connection to it.
Yeah.
And you guys are in Kentucky.
100%. All that together.
I love you
like,
guys being the
it's
best friends,
It's
by the way.
It's a really cool opportunity and a time
Yeah.
for people to be able to get what they want, and you can get it at a good price if you want to.
Yeah,
There are brands that are doing that.
there are. There are definitely brands, and there are brands trying, right?
Yeah,
and there's
100%.
brands
Yeah.
being conscious, and there are. And the other thing is like, I'm so excited today while we were at the visitor center.
You got to buy a Voyage.
I love Voyage. I really liked Voyage Master's Keep because I got like a funky, dusty, weird turkey note on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the rum.
That
barrel.
Appleton rum is something
what it
else,
is?
man. Yeah.
Okay.
We were talking
It's
about
Jamaican rum,
Matt
man. It's
was-
funky.
Matt was
Yeah.
talking about it earlier that even when we had the 17-year
He
the export,
loves it.
it's got that brandy cognac sort
Yeah.
of like heavy fruit, dark
Yeah.
fruit vibe. I think that's what the Appleton rum like sort of gives
Added.
that voyage thing.
Man, and I remember when we reviewed Voyage, I loved it, and the reason was it gave me that like dusty, funky vibe to it, and it's released obviously last year, right? And today we go to the new visitor center. First time we're at the new visitor center, and it's there, and I'm like, this is Bruce is there, Eddie's
Oh,
there,
yeah.
or
Hey.
Jimmy's there,
You're buying that, right?
and I'm like, I'll never have another opportunity to have you and Jimmy sign that bottle. And it's like we have an open. There's an open one right at home. You know, like there's
Yeah.
one to drink. And it was like, I loved that Master's Keep a lot, and to have those signatures on it. Now the only one that's missing is Eddie. You know what I mean?
Good luck.
And right.
I will say though, before we head off or close things, I do want to shout out maybe my favorite thing that we've done in a really long time. The Russell's 15, honestly, is what I
Dude,
think.
it's so good.
That's not what I'm going to shout out. I do want to preface this like,
What?
I think that's the most that's as close to a perfect whiskey as we can currently do.
Yep.
Agreed.
However, what I think is the coolest thing we've got going on, it launches September 10. My grandfather Jimmy have been working at the distillery for 70 years. He's the longest tenured master distiller in the history of spirits.
Yes.
Amazing.
In the world.
Ever.
In the world.
Yeah,
Ever.
ever. In recorded history.
Forever.
And-
Yes.
That's amazing.
He's been working there since he was 19. He's almost 90. And we're going to put out a commemorative bottle for him. And you know what? Sean was joking over there about our $300 price point or whatever. And
Whoa.
No, you said it. Go ahead, Bruce.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is something that I like. Why I'm really excited about the product. And this is something that I think that our parent company and us have. This is the cool thing about the community. We heard the community. So guess what? It's a $50 bottle.
That's awesome.
On shelf.
Love to hear it.
8-year-old age stamped 101. It's a one-time only blend
Hell
of
yeah.
like Jimmy's favorite rickhouses from Tyrone, and
8-year age stated?
8-year age stated.
At 101.
8-year 101.
For $50.
$49.99
Bro.
LTO.
And buy.
$50 LTO limited
Ben.
edition.
That's
Ben,
so cool.
by Ben.
And I'm not
It's
saying that like
phenomenal.
expensive bottles are going away, because that's not where that's not where
already said no.
It's not where it's at.
But-
But we want to do kind of this same thing we're talking about. We want
Heck
to
yeah.
continue to offer
That's awesome.
really special stuff, for everybody, not just for the person that can swipe their card for $250
Sure.
or $300.
That's
Yeah, that's
so
really
cool that they're doing
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah,
with Jimmy.
really excited
So
about it.
cool.
That's
Is
fun.
It's
the,
a pretty big release.
I was gonna say,
It's going to be the largest by like
Matt Porter.
Matt Porter died and came back to life.
ADHD, baby.
it's going to be the largest limited edition by multiple times.
Oh, I love that.
that we've
That's
ever
so
done.
cool.
Because our whole thing
With
is like,
101, yeah.
not only is the 8-year-old 101 like is Jimmy's thing. Jimmy comes from a very blue collar background. He unlike me, he had to earn it completely on his own. He didn't have anybody helping him along really, and so he's always been about, I want everybody to get a bottle. I want everybody to be able to afford the bottle.
That's cool.
And so
I-
it's going to
Dude,
be.
that's awesome.
Do not buy this for any secondary
Yeah,
price.
I could not be happier.
Get it on shelf for $50. It
Yeah.
will be available
That's
where
awesome.
you're at. Not forever, because it is a one-time deal.
Of course.
It's going to be a huge launch. It's going to be $50. It's awesome 8-year-old 101 old school Jimmy
That's so
stuff.
cool.
Is it
Caramel, clove,
Yeah.
oak. Old school turkey.
That's
is
cool.
it released under the Wild Turkey 101?
Wild
label?
turkey. It's coming in a 101 bottle, but its own label. So
Yeah.
it'll have like 70th anniversary.
That's
Have his name on there.
September what?
September 10.
Okay.
Next week.
Well,
Sweet.
Oh, shit.
Bruce,
Yeah.
I heard you say
6 days.
not to buy it for any reason other than to drink it, but I heard buy multiple cases is what I heard.
Oh, yeah. In about 10 years, we can all talk about how cool that was. And like, oh, it's a great dusty.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
man.
drink that up, because it's one thing that Dad, me, and Jimmy always give people a hard time for, And this is cool. I get it, and I know why people are proud, but they'll show me a collection of 400 bottles, not a one of them's open.
Right.
And it's like, man, you are
Missing out.
Missing.
a dragon hoarding your
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
Because it is for this. It's for sitting
Yeah.
around at a table, drinking whiskey, shooting the shit, having a good time.
Yep. Boom.
That's
Boom.
And with that, thanks for listening to this episode.
Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, BourbonOutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also,
Head on over to our partner, the Woodwork Collective, at woodworkcollective.shop. Enter code MASHUP for a 15% discount.
let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.